Hello, everybody. Just want to let you know before we start the episode today that today, Saturday, March 10th, 2018, in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, at the Western Mall, that's 2101 West 41st Street, there is Super Daycon is going on. It's a free will donation to get in. They're going to have cosplay, comics, comedy, and gaming. Make sure to stop by. It's a family-friendly event, and there's also an after-dark event with comedy. Elliot Rawl is going to be there with Vault Comics. There's going to be a super cosplay contest, comedy hour, board game demos from Sioux Falls Game Chest. It's going to be a fantastic time. Once again, the free gaming is from 11 to 5, but the event is 11 to 9 p.m. Make sure to go to siouxpercon.com for more information and stop by the Western Mall on March 10th, 2018. That is 2101 West 41st Street. Enjoy the show. Welcome to Wednesday Comics.
Brought to you by rootsoftheswampthing.com and Siouxpercon 2018 Return of the Con.
Hey everyone, keep turning those pages.
Welcome to Wednesday Comics. To my right, we have Hawkeye himself. Alex, how you doing?
Hello everyone.
And to my left, the other Hawkeye, Garrett, how you doing?
The other Hawkeye, just Hawkeye. I'm good.
And I am Bomb Pop Marvin. How you doing, everybody?
Pop Marvin.
You're the last popsicle in the freezer. That's what you are.
You're like Bomb Pops?
I like bomb pops, but you know what's better than the bomb pops? Those Flintstone push pops.
Yeah.
Oh, those are fucking way better than bomb pops. Bomb
The
pops was
only
like, oh, I
thing-
guess this is left. I'll have one.
The only thing about those Flintstone ones, they melt easily.
Yeah.
And so then
Because they're meant to be eaten right away.
but like a Bomb Pop, when it's melting, you can still eat it. The Flintstones, then you're fucked. Like the thing doesn't work.
Well, you're the dummy who let it get warm in the first place, so that's your fault.
Speaking of Bomb Pop, Captain America, and speaking of those Hawkeyes, not really. Hawkeye won't come up in this conversation, but let's go to Captain America. Recently, Marvel Fresh Start announced the list of titles. A lot of these came without artists, which, you know, my thoughts of that look back to prior shows, but they did release a handful, I would say, of books that are coming out. Not every single one, but at least for May, right? May or June.
May is when Marvel comes out.
They're still calling it Marvel Fresh Start, so I don't know if it has a name. It probably won't just be Marvel. Like, if they were smart, they'll quit branding
Marvel
the refresh. But anyways, here we go. Let's see if we're interested in any of these. We're gonna go take it a positive spin, right? It's not gonna be. Let's say if we're interested or not. I know we are really buying into the system. We've been talking about, hey, quit relaunching. And then we're going to get excited for number ones here. I know we're buying into that, but let's just say for a second, we're not jaded. And let's get into it. Sentry number one.
I'm already jaded.
I know you guys really don't know Sentry, but Sentry is a guy who I've grown to hate. We have Jeff Lemire and Kim Jacino. Yeah, it's going to tell the Sentry is a fascinating character. I absolutely love the original Sentry series by Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee when it first came out, so I jumped at the chance to write the character. Jeff Lemire told comicbook.com.
Okay. Dumb question.
Yes.
How is he on DC and Marvel's payroll?
He's not exclusive.
He's not? Okay.
No, he's not to anyone. He's just a free agent, they call it. Freelancer.
Got
Blake's
it.
having a lady on each arm.
And he's doing his own image book. He's doing whatever he wants to these days. There's no better position to be in than Jeff Lemire. So the Sentry, history on the Sentry, like a quick history of how he became to be. Marvel was like, hey guys, we found something in Stan Lee's desk. He never released this character as a character he created from the beginning, and it was never released. And here we're finally going to release him now. And Sentry was born. He's basically a Superman, except he has this evil in him called the Void, and he turns evil every once in a while. When he was in the Dark Avengers, the Void was in charge, and sometimes he's in charge, Bob. So then one time somebody asked him at a convention, hey, how does it feel like that your character's finally coming to light? And Stan Lee said, I don't know what you're talking about. So Marvel kind of threw the man behind the curtain, showing that they just made this character and we're like, hey, it's Stan Lee to try to trick people. However, he's involved in a lot of good stuff, Sentry. In Dark Avengers, I thought he was fine.
He was just in Doctor Strange.
The only thing for a while, he was in Doctor Strange. The only thing for a while was that he was a character that, he was always crying and brooding. Like he was constantly crying. And he, actual tears. And he was always like the way they got out of stuff. Because the void's so strong. The void would come out and like stop everything. And that he was always like the Deus Ex Machina, like being like, oh, I can fix this. So for a while, he was kind of like, if a writer can figure out how to get into anything, they'd be like, oh, well, Sentry shows up and takes care of it. So now we have Jeff Lemire. I know last year was the year of Jeff Lemire. He's going to be writing this character this year. That is enough for me to be like, maybe. But then again, the character is enough for me to go, maybe not.
So
what do you guys think, not knowing the character?
Yeah, like character-wise, I would say I don't really give a shit. But like,
which is weird since Superman is your favorite.
There's only one. I don't care about the Marvel doppelganger. That's not my prerogative.
Isn't Hyperion a doppelganger
He
too?
is another one, yeah.
Yeah. But, I love Jeff Lemire. Like, I think he's a great writer. But I think, like, he's at the point where he's doing so many books that, not so that he's going to bring out a bad book, but so, like, I believe he's a great writer. But I'd rather, if I don't, like, I'm not really invested in the plot or who the character is, I'd rather just wait on that one. And that could be another Thanos, like, you guys are telling me, but it's, I don't know that until the first issue comes out. And, like, I'm not interested in Sentry as a character. I saw him in Doctor Strange, like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But, like, again, they weren't trying to, like, bring in a new fan for Sentry. They thought you knew who he was. So, I mean, for me, I think it's cool that he gets to write that character, but I'm not really looking into it. I'm not going to get it. As of right now.
I think for me, I'm going to give it at least the first issue. I don't know a lot about Sentry. I haven't read the Bendis New Avengers. I haven't read. He was in Dark Avengers, right? Yeah.
He was, yeah.
So I have that, just haven't read either of those books. But I like Jeff Lemire enough that I'm willing to at least give first issue a chance.
I want to say he also shows up in New Avengers, but I'm not 100% on that. He showed up in a lot of books for a while.
Right. I'm trying to stop doing the like blanket, like just because a writer that I love is on it, I'm gonna get it.
That's what I mean. Like this is Jeff Lemire. I should be like, hey, I want to get that. But also, It's like I don't enjoy that character. So maybe sometimes the writer's not enough.
Right. It needs to be a cohesive storytelling that they're like. It seems more like that Jeff Lemire just got this on his lap.
Well, yeah. Well, he says he says some more about Sentry. Sentry has a lot of emotional depth and a lot for me to dig in terms of psychology of the character. He's immensely powerful and has the potential to be one of the greatest and most important heroes in the Marvel Universe. But he is constantly undermined by his own dark side and his own self-doubt, which is true.
But how's that different from Moon Knight?
But, well, he's so powerful. Right. That's the only thing is that there is a lot there, yes. But I can't see how that's interesting at all. And maybe it'll come out, be one of the best books of the year, and I'll hear about it and want to get it. But I wish you the best, Jeff Lemire. He should do good. I mean, let's hope it's good. But Sentry. A second book they announced, Immortal Hulk #1. This is Al Ewing and Joe Bennett. You'll never notice the man. You'd never notice the man. He doesn't like to be noticed. He's calm, quiet, never complains, while you can walk up and shoot him in the head, and all he'll do is die. Until night falls and someone else gets up again. The name is Banner. The horror is Immortal Hulk. So it's going to be, they said, kind of like a horror book. It comes out June 6th. They have release dates for these? What's the first one? Oh, just June, and this one actually says June 6th. They said they're going to go back and kind of make it like a horror book, kind of like Frankenstein-ish, the man, the monster. And the cover looks sweet. It looks like an old school, like kind of Universal Studios monster movie.
Looks like that season 1 cover.
Yeah, it does look like that.
Al Ewing, he's been doing good work.
Yeah.
This might be one I try. Like, I do like Al Ewing, and when the Hulk is good, the Hulk is good.
And what about that Bruce Banner Hulk? I mean, Bruce Banner's coming back.
Bruce Banner, return to form. Bruce Banner.
Isn't he already back?
It is. He's coming. Yeah,
he's coming back in my No Surrender
yeah.
Avengers storyline.
Okay. But then it's like going to be like a horror book. Like if it sticks to that'd be like Marvel's only horror book.
If it was actually a horror book, yes, I would get it. My concern is I'm not a huge Hulk fan. And I haven't read enough Hulk to be enticed.
What's powerful there is?
You know what the weird thing? You think I like the Hulk? I got rage issues. I do turn kind of green.
And you're a giant nerd when you're not mad.
Yeah, of course. So I kind of want to get it, but I'm also like, I don't know if I'm invested enough. I've been burned by like that Indestructible Hulk, and
That was good.
I didn't care for that.
I think when they got Amadeus Cho in there, like that was not the right direction. Like as soon as I started reading that, I was like, okay, Hulk's laughing, I'm out. Like I love this kind of Hulk. Bring it to me, baby. I'm in.
So what I mean, it kind of seems like they're returning back to the Dr. Hyde, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing, where he doesn't like being the other guy, which is supposed to be like the crux of that character is they hate each other, but they can't live without each other. Like they're stuck together. And when Bruce really needs the Hulk, he really needs the Hulk, but the Hulk, he can't be the Hulk the whole time.
Right.
Like he needs Banner too. He needs that balance. And so if they actually do go back to like that kind of how the story's supposed to be, then I think I'm in. But
and bring back like Thunderbolt Ross, and like bring back all these people that deserve to be in the Hulk book.
there's a lot like that right there, especially even like that's synopsis or not synopsis, but part of the solicit is just quickly they just wrote that and it was like, here's what the book's about. Not really. It was kind of just a line, but I don't know. That's like seems like it's simple enough to be like, hey guys, we're not trying to make this too complicated. We're just trying to bring this back to how it should be. So
dumb question. In a subscription, does it have to be an honest subscription or solicitation? Or can they just be telling you, oh, we're going to make it a horror book? It has nothing to do with anything. It's just...
They can literally tell you someone dies and it's like a bug.
it's all marketing, so
Yeah.
I don't know. They could change it when it comes out.
It's like a health claim on a cereal box.
It's going to be Amadeus Cho just lying to you, telling you Banner's coming
I
back.
don't think
If
they
it's
would do that.
Amadeus Cho,
I don't think
I'm
they would
going
do
to add that
Burn
to
that
the
book.
comic book looks burn pile.
Yep.
No, the Lazarus. They put in the Lazarus pit.
Whatever the Lazarus bit.
Deadpool #1. This is Scotty Young and Nick Klein. Also comes out June 6th, 2018. Visually, besides the over-the-top of it all business, I like Deadpool specific things. Klein added, experimenting with pacing, specific camera shots, angles to get comedic effect are also fun things that I hope to do. We were just having fun doing it, and I think it shows off and will rub off on the readers. So that's Scotty Young of I Hate Fairyland fame. Also Scotty Young of formerly of Wizard of Oz. What else has he done?
Did that X versus Avengers kid one.
Yes, and he's done tons of variant covers, but he's going to be writing the book, and Nick Klein will be doing the art. What do you think, Alex? Deadpool is one of your guys who you read a lot of and kind of fell off in the last couple of years. Scotty Young is a guy who you like on I Hate Fairyland.
I think I'd be willing to give this one a chance, at least the first issue. I thought Scotty Young was doing the art as well, but I know he's going to be a busy guy doing his own I Hate Fairyland and writing this. I'm willing to give it a try.
I want to give it a try too, because like Tom Taylor saved Deadpool for me when he was in All New Wolverine recently. Like I read it. I was like, holy crap! I haven't realized how much I missed Deadpool. And then you said literally like right after I finished that comic that Scotty Young's writing it. And like when I see Scotty Young like do those variant covers and there's like a one little line and like a bubble and I like look at it and I like dying laughing. I'm like, okay, this guy fucking gets comedy, 100%.
Yeah, that's a good choice. If any choice, like they could have picked Scotty Young's the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if there's anybody to bring that character, not that I actually did like a lot Jerry Dugan's run. It just felt like it went too long.
He kept fighting Sabretooth.
Well, I think that was the big thing is that first 29 issues that Dugan did, or is it Duggan or Dugan? Dugan had done. It was great.
Him and Posehn, when they were together, it was great. And Posehn jumped off after a while. And I feel like the combination of those two were making great comics.
Yep.
So we'll see. Tony Stark, Iron Man #1. That's what it's called, not just Iron Man. Tony Stark, so that way you guys know. Creative team of Dan Slott, Valero Sheedy. This is June 20th. As a futurist, Tony Stark thought he had all the answers, but since coming back from the dead, he now sees the Marvel Universe in a whole new light. There was... I'll have to find it. He pitched this book. Actually, Dan Slott, this is actually from CB Sobleski saying all this stuff, but Dan Slott said it was a combination of two different kind of movies to expect. I'm going to look that up right now. Garrett, what do you think? Tony Stark, Iron Man's guy. You've been reading Iron Man for a little bit here, right?
Yeah. So as we've seen with Spider-Man, like literally Dan Slott owned that character for how many odd years since issue 700 I know he was on that creative team group and he took over when everyone else was kind of dropping off. This is one that, Valero Sheedy, like that art is pretty good. So I'm tempted to get it, but I think I'm going to be like Alex, like I'll jump on Amazing Spider-Man and then 3 issues in, I get a crossover and I'm like, I I feel like it's a little too late, to be on the let's fix Iron Man bandwagon. Like now I'm gonna get like Iron Man Armor Wars 2, 3, 4, and 5, and Whiplash will come back, and there'll just be all these things. And then obviously Anna Marie Marconi is gonna get her own Iron Man suit and like things like that. And like I don't know. Like I think Dan Slott can write, but I think he's just so burnt out. Like if he took like a year off because he just did like how many issues of Spider-Man the last like 10 years.
Yeah.
Then I'd be like, okay, he's coming back. He's fresh. Like he's going to have some good stories to tell. But again, it just seems like, oh, no one's writing Iron Man? Well, people want me done with Spider-Man. Hey, I'll take the guy that's most popular in the movies. I'll do that. I'll do Iron Man.
Yeah.
But like, I want to see what Dan Slott, like why he wants to. And that might get me to do it. But God, I don't feel like he's going to have a good answer. I bet it's just like, well, I had to pick another A-list character that I can fuck with, so Iron Man seems like the next great choice.
Now, I had heard that, I don't know if your brother ever read that Silver Surfer, but Marvin has said that Silver Surfer run by him was pretty good.
Yeah.
That I won't get Iron Man. I don't care enough about the character to get him, but I think just knowing that Dan Slott is actually willing to take a new character on interests me a little bit.
But is Iron Man too big to just be his own book? That's what gets me. I think it's crossover bait. Just getting a Dan Slott
I think
book.
you're going to get 2 issues in, and it's going to get brought into X-Men versus Inhumans versus Avengers versus Thanos. And
Civil War 3.
Civil War 18.
Yeah, right.
I found it. By the way, they said that the Iron Man, Tony Stark, that if you liked him from Jonathan Hickman's version, this is not going to be that guy. He's going to go back to being a funny guy.
I don't think Dan Slott gets
no care in the world. You're going to see a superhero comic that's somewhere in between Rick and Morty and Black Mirror. Now, they said Black Mirror, yes, I'm in. But Rick and Morty is like a very silly kind of satire kind of show, and it's very goofy. And
they have a cover?
Yeah. I don't know. The cover looks really good. The art looks fine. I just don't know if that take on Iron Man I really want to...
Oh, it does look good.
Really want to read. Like
looks like a movie poster.
I don't know. I like Dan Slott. He was good on Silver Surfer. But Iron Man, Spider-Man. I really didn't.
That's what I was just saying. Is like he's too big to keep contained in his own book. Like I don't think Dan Slott can help himself. He'll be like Ironverse, Red Iron Man. Oh, he's already red. Green Iron Man. Like we'll get him Goblin Juice. Like it just no, I just can't do it.
He won't just let him be Tony Stark. He's got to screw with them. Yeah.
And again, I'll do what Marvin does. If he hears great things about it, or if I do, I'm gonna be like, maybe I'll check it out.
That's probably the one I'm least excited for.
Yeah,
that's when I saw that. I was like, no, there's not even something in my head. Like I'd rather read the Century over that.
It seems like my wallet is going to get lighter.
And Dan Slott is a writer that I have honestly lost a little respect for, and a lot of it is just being burnt from Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and so I have no interest in getting this book.
I mean, you got to pull a Bendis and do something that's going to actually further and grow your career, as opposed to just like keeping the status quo.
This book, the next one, I'm not really sure what to think of. The Life of Captain Marvel #1 is what it's called. Margaret Stoll and Carlos Pacheco is on it. Life magazine, presents the origin of Carol Danvers and Captain Marvel in one place in a way you haven't seen before. Margie's pulling all together the strands of Carol's backstory to craft a tale that will no doubt become a seminal story about the character and set her in a place for her role in Avengers and elsewhere throughout Marvel Universe. I don't know what the cover looks like. It's almost kind of like doing the Vision thing. We're taking a character and placing her like in normal situations to try to figure out who she is. But I don't know. I don't know what to expect from that one.
That solicitation didn't interest me at all.
It's very vague. It's like, oh, we're just going to put everything together to craft a story that will become a seminal story. Yeah, well, I would hope that you would strive for that on any kind of story. And you're going to pull together from backstory. Yeah, I'm sure that's every comic book.
Now, if it was Carol Danvers just being Carol Danvers, living life, yeah, I'd maybe actually give that a try. And then to watch her get into trouble, or some guy comes to mug her and then she beats the shit out of him. Yeah, I would get that book. But
with Captain Marvel, like I don't like what I've read of her. Obviously, Civil War 2 was not like her actual character. Ultimate Avengers, whatever, was screwed up. But like I've read her in Jessica Jones, like an alias, like because that's Jessica Jones' actual best friend, not whatever Squirrel Girl or whatever.
Was it Hellcat?
Or Hellcat, yeah. So I love how like Bendis. I think Bendis gets who that character is, but there's a lot of writers I don't think understand Captain Marvel. They're trying to do too much with her, and like I'm just like, I'm not interested. Like it's so shady in my eyes. I'm like,
I like Captain Marvel a lot. She has good stuff.
Well, I know, but what I've read from her recently, you've been reading Captain Marvel stuff forever. I've literally
the only thing I've actually read is Civil War 2 of hers.
Yeah,
other than when she shows up in a book.
Well, Ultimate Avengers, you got? Are you?
Ultimates.
I mean,
you're right.
Yeah.
She has a lot of good stuff, but the only thing about her and like hearing this, like all pulling together all of her backstory is that I think this is probably the 4th relaunch they've had in the last few years of Captain Marvel. Like they keep restarting it, and like Kelly Sue was on the book for a while, and they had the people who somebody who wrote the script for Guardians, and now she's doing the actual script for Captain Marvel. She wrote it, and they've been bringing people like to try to like reinvigorate this character, but like Kelly Sue's run was good, and they like kind of we got to restart it. This is not selling well. So for a while they were restarting because it wasn't selling well, being like, oh, people don't like this, but it's like no, people like it. It's just like I don't think Captain Marvel is a person that's going to sell, Tony Stark numbers, sell Spider-Man numbers.
I think she needs to be a part of a team, and like what book is that coming out with all the female characters that I think looks great with Valkyrie and.
It might be the Fearless Defenders.
Fearless Defenders, like have her lead a team like she did with Ultimates. Like I think she's a great leader, and so that shows when she's on a team book. But I mean, I agree with her. I don't think like she's going to pull off that kind of
prestige.
Depending on how that looks, I'll get that book. Like Alex said, I don't know what that solicit says. You know what I mean? Yeah. Once I get more information, I might be in. But we'll see. Amazing Spider-Man #1, Nick Spencer, Ryan Otley's first work after Invincible, after doing all that work. Nick Spencer's been MIA since Secret Empire. And
he's writing Damnation with
Donny Cates.
With Donny Cates.
Oh yeah, he came back for that. But that was kind of off of Secret Empire. Right. So what do you think, Alex? Andy, you get Amazing right now. Is this enough for you to keep on until they restart it?
Well, I think I've only got like 4 issues left to finish Amazing.
This comes out July 4th, 2018.
That's going to be a busy day.
Yeah, there's a lot.
That's the same day of the wedding for Batman and what's the other
Captain
thing?
America.
Yeah, right.
I think in all honesty, I am willing to give Amazing Spider-Man the end route and to hop on or stay on with Nick Spencer. I trust his writing. I've read The Fix. The Fix makes me laugh out loud. And it sounds like we're getting back into Peter kind of being down on his luck, but has to do the right thing. So I'm hopeful. And
I think he can knock it out of the park.
And
I'm excited for #GuestHost1 to read it so I can read it after him.
Well, I think that's the thing is that GuestHost1 always wants me, #GuestHost1 wants me to read all this dumb Spider-Man shit. And that's how I feel about it, is that it's Spider-Man shit. Where I actually want to get a book that when I can go, Corey, this book is amazing. I can't wait to get the next issue. And so it's I think for me, I'm being hopeful. I'm trying to be as optimistic and less of a pessimistic, angry man towards Spider-Man. Because I feel so burned from Spider-Man.
Recently, I sent in a group chat, we're all in a group chat, a picture of all the Spider-Man, right? Of the drawings of people drawing them throughout the years. Do you see that?
Oh, I saw the pictures that you sent.
So I was looking at that and I was like, God, like there's some good ones. See, obviously the classic stuff like that, but there's one person I was just like, that's like, when I think of Spider-Man, I envision was Todd McFarlane's, like how he looked. And for some reason, I like Ron Otley's style a lot. I wasn't reading Invincible like ongoing, but anytime was on the solicits, I would always look at the preview just because I like the way his art looks. And for a while, I was like, God, I want to read something that he does. And I think actually I'm going to get this book because the way he draws is like this cartoony style, but yet he can draw an action scene and draw like. And this is not going to be in Spider-Man, but like in Invincible, he would draw like a bloody action scene that would be like so visceral and so like what's the word I'm looking for?
Macabre,
almost gut wrenching.
Well, there'd be like so much destruction on the page. You're just like, and then he can draw Invincible like looking like a superhero. You know what I mean? There's such a variance of his art that I think he's perfect for this book. And so that's what I'm most excited for. Nick Spencer, I think will do a good job if we get like the fixed Nick Spencer. If we get the fixed Nick Spencer, that's like good with this comedy, or even the Ant-Man. The Ant-Man book was good.
Ant-Man was great.
Oh, that's Ant-Man. Right. I forgot Spencer wrote Ant-Man.
And
Ant-Man
he
was
wrote
good.
Superior Foes of Spider-Man. That's good too. So like if we get that guy, and I think we will, I don't think we'll get the Secret Empire kind of guy, even though there was a couple issues we did like. And I think this book will be great. And I think it's the one Oh, there's another one. But I think this is one of the ones I'm like, yes, this is a guarantee. It's going to be at least interesting.
I think my problem is that Nick Spencer left kind of a bad taste in my mouth from Secret Empire. And that's the only thing that I'm going, God, that book really wasn't as good as I want. But like saying the fix was good. I forgot that Nick Spencer wrote Ant-Man. I enjoyed that book. There's good stuff. I know he knows how to write good stuff.
Yeah.
And Ant-Man did make me laugh out loud. Fix does make me laugh out loud. That
I think that's his key,
he'll handle
right?
Spider-Man just fine.
He was on Captain America and he was on Sam Wilson for a while in Secret Empire. When he tries to be the political kind of, serious writer, I don't think he does that great. But when he does the comedic kind of, comedic drama kind of thing, that's Nick Spencer. And I think this book, it's perfect. This is the only one. Like, I think we were talking about when we were trying to guess who would be New Spider-Man. Nick Spencer was the name that came up because it makes sense. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I probably will get this one. Doctor Strange #1. This is Mark Waid and Jesus Saiz. I've been a Strange fan forever, Waid said, but I've never been lucky enough to write an extended run featuring the Good Doctor. Along with editor Nick Lowe, we've come up with some new and very unexpected places to take Stephen Strange in the Marvel Universe, starting with the stars. When Strange's magic suddenly exhausts itself, we have to travel off Earth to recharge his batteries. Now, Mark Waid I do like a lot. I think even more than you guys. Jesus is a great artist. So everything about this should be like, oh, yes, I'm in. Doctor Strange, I'll have Doctor Strange, The only thing that's for me, it's like...
Space.
It's like you're taking away his powers. Wasn't that like the last three runs?
That's the thing that gets me is the magic exhaustion. I thought we were done with that already.
It's like, hey, when his powers are suddenly gone, I was like, yeah, what do you mean the last two times? And he gets it back somehow? Like, maybe, try something different. Maybe try to do like the opposite. What happens when he has too much power? Like, how does he do that? Like, how does he handle that? And I don't know. I probably will like tentatively check it out because I like those people. I like the character. But I think it's one of those things where I think we talk about all the time when a book is like constantly doing the same thing with a certain character. It's like there's a different story to be told rather than him always losing his power. And it seems like that's always the story for Doctor Strange when someone comes on board like, hey, what if he didn't have powers? And I was like, yeah, did you read the last one? Because that's the same thing that happened.
I'm going to set this one out.
So I think the excitement I had for Doctor Strange is when you guys tell me about Brian K. Vaughan's The Oath or Hickman writing him in the New Avengers. It's like, oh man, that sounds really good. He's kind of cocky, full of it, and he can back it up. Where now it's always, oh, this is what happens if I'm weak. Mark Waid is my Jeff Lemire, at least for you, Kara, when it comes to Sentry. I like Mark Waid, but he's not a writer that solidifies me getting a book. It's like, oh, the reason I got Captain is Chris Samnew's on the book. It's not the writer that brought me into this one. So I will probably skip Doc Strange and just cut my losses. Unless you go, best book I ever read, I had to buy 3 of them because I messed up my first 2, then maybe I'll get it.
Exploding.
Volcano-ish.
Captain America #1. This is Ta-Nehisi Coates and Linnell Yu. This goes on July 4th also. Coates says, I think it's a really exciting time to be writing Captain America right now. This country is in an interesting place. And I look forward to inhibiting Steve Rogers' character, this guy who has been has a sort of awkward fit for the world. Out of time, as people say. I hope fans are excited to see something different. And I think they're really compelling villains old school Captain America fans and Marvel fans will be familiar with. Now, when we were talking about Nick Spencer on this book, and I really didn't think he did a great job with like the political kind of stuff, if there's anybody that Marvel has that can write a political book, it's Coates. Yeah. I've read for before he even was a comic writer he writes for The Atlantic, and I would always read his stuff, and you could always tell he was a comic book fan, but he wrote like political kind of stuff, and it always is great. Even when he announced his book, like Marvel didn't put out a press release. I mean, they did after the fact, but he announced it by writing an article for Atlantic with what Captain America meant to him. And it's a great article. Go read it at Atlantic.com. And I read that and I was like, I want to read this book. It's going to be very political. So if you don't like that kind of book, I guarantee you. But I think Coates has a nice balance of being like, this is very political, but like you said, there's some old school villains that people really like, but he also understands this is still a comic book.
Can I see the cover for that one? Yes. And I want to see the Spider-Man one if there was one.
Yeah, Lionel Francis Yu, though, great artist. I mean, he did that Indestructible Hulk run and the Just Hulk.
Oh, that was Mark Waid. Oh, you mean art, right?
I'm saying art.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Yu does some great art. So I'm excited for that. And I told you guys I watched that Good Morning America like feature on Ta-Nehisi Coates, and like I was in. I was like, I wish I had already gone back and got Black Panther #1, but it was too far in.
Oh, you didn't get Black Panther 1? I thought you did, because he and I got it, or I got it.
You mean Rise of the Black?
No,
one?
actually Black Panther, where it's Black Panther. I just know the cover is him standing there in Wakanda.
No, I don't think Eric got that.
I didn't get it. I didn't know anything about
Black
it.
Panther was great too. It's just really slow, and I think for a while, and that was his first comic book, so I think it just took him for a while to figure out how to do comic books. So
I think knowing that you guys are interested in this book, I at least want to give issue 1 a try. I don't know how I stand on reading a political comic book. Like, it's one of those things that's not something that's usually in my wheelhouse of what I would want to read.
I think
as long as he doesn't put a lean in it, like.
But I know that I want to have a captain book.
Right.
And so that's, I think my biggest thing is I want to have a
Here's
captain.
the thing, though. I think there's a nice balance between political and just having an action book. Did you ever read Ed Brubaker, Anything He Did with Captain America? No. I think he had the perfect balance. If you read any of his books, it's always political allegory, right? If you love the Winter Soldier movie, that is a very political movie, but there's a good mix of action enough and there's like the things that he says when Cap goes in there, he goes, "This is not safety. This is fear that you're doing. You're trying to, scare people into being like, oh, we'll protect you. You need us." That is very political. That is very telling for these times, like, giving up your freedom for security. But it's not like in your face. We'll talk about Captain America later. In your face being like, this is political. And I think Coates is very good about being like, hey, in kind of like the Black Panther movie, there's a lot of political, there's a lot of culture, there's a lot of things that are relevant to this time, but it's not blatantly like, hey, this is all this is about, and I'm just trying to tell you this message.
You had me at Winter Soldier. Sold.
The next book, Multiple Man #1. This is Matthew Rosenberg and Annie McDonald. Matthew Rosenberg, we know from the Four Kids Walk Into a Bank fame. Jamie is very dead. He was killed by Terrigen Mist, and all his dupes died with him. But our book starts off with someone finding Jamie not very dead. But he is not long for this world, so the mystery of why he is dead. The only thing with this, I'm not going to read the rest of that. When I saw this, I was like, this makes me think maybe Marvel hasn't figured out what was wrong with their other relaunches. Too many books. Who wants a multiple man book? I mean, maybe you like that character, but can he hold a book?
No.
It's like, yes.
The only thing that would come out of this book is if Rosenberg is writing another bank heist.
If it's a mini, good.
4 issues. That's all.
4
I
issues.
want.
They're trying to copy DC, like when they're doing their like Silver Age, Golden Age like characters by just like Kite Man. Kite Man was awesome, but he was incorporated into a story. They're like, what if we do a whole fucking book about B-list character? Like
Zebra Man. No.
Yeah.
And not that a B, C list character can have their own book, but why is that something now? Like if he have a book like Spider-Man or have a book like X-Men, which Multiple Man should be part of, have them be in that book and then people go, I like that character. And then it spins off.
Yeah.
And you do a book, you test the ground that this can work rather than be like, hey, like this character. And then nobody gets the book and then you're like, oh, wait, you cancel the book. And then you're like, wait, nobody wants to read this book. It's like, yeah, nobody was like, hey, yeah, multiple man book. That's what I want.
My fear is that it's going to give Rosenberg a wrong, send the wrong message to people. That it's almost like Marvel doesn't trust him with any other character. So here's the multiple man. See if you can sell this. If you can, great.
Think about it this way. DC for almost like 50 issues for a long time, for years. In Batman, Duke was in that book and he was like doing his, like helping Bruce out, like learning how to be a hero. And then they were like, oh, you know what? We're going to do a little mini spinoff of The Signal. I mean, not to say people were clamoring for that book, but that made sense. I didn't be like, what? The Signal out of nowhere? I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, it makes sense. He's been in that book forever. And he gets his own spinoff. Mara doing her own spinoff now. Yeah, she's part of Aquaman. She's been in part of that run, like a critical character in that run. And it makes sense that now when Aquaman is going away or like into shadows and she's becoming in charge, it makes sense that she has her own book.
Yeah.
Like they're naturally coming out of the story rather than you being like, hey,
forcing
I'm
you
going to
into
make
it.
this.
Yeah.
Like, open up the book and where do you put your finger?
We'll hurry through those because it's going longer than
long
that.
for free talk.
Black Panther #1. This is still Coates and Daniel Acuna. This is May 23rd, 2018. So,
and I want to jump on this one.
Yep,
It's
I'll
the
go
new
with
number
this
one.
Yes, I would. If I'm going to make a recommendation on any of these, I would say this one is probably guaranteed to be the best one.
What else has Acuna done?
Acuna did some art for Uncanny Avengers that we read.
Yes. Yeah.
Did the Sam Wilson.
Right.
He's done a lot of things, but yeah. So he says perfect jumping on point as well. New direction for Black Panther. Go and read this listed, but like if you heard me talk about cults earlier, you know that it's a fair bet. Ant-Man and the Wasp #1. This is, I believe, a miniseries. So at least, 6-issue limited series from Mark Waid and Javier Garron. June 6th, everything's coming out.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be a little mini, so probably because the movie's coming out. So I don't know how that'll be. I don't know. Well, at least it makes sense that they were like, hey, these two. You know what? That makes more sense to be an ongoing than that multiple man book. Yeah. And I don't know why that is. Thor #1. This is Jason Aaron, Mike Del Mundo. June 13th.
That's a good
with
team.
These with these new #1 titles for some of our key franchises, we're going big, brand new, exciting stories for our core characters. And rest assured, the Bond characters you know and love aren't going anywhere. These stories will continue in Marvel Universe with more epic milestones. Oh, that's just nothing really tells you about the story. Jason Aaron's been doing a great job on Thor. If you see this cover, it's Odin's son with the beard and with the metal arm. So it's building off of what he's been doing for years. And it's Mike Del Mundo, who's great.
Yeah,
so
it's incredible.
The Weird World. The Weird World. Still can't say it after all these years. Was great. So it'd be nice to see this book.
Never mind.
2 more books left. Venom #1. This is Donny Cates, Ryan Stegman. May 9th. This is one that I know Alex is going to get, right?
Yes.
Excited for?
Corey will get it too.
He will obviously get it.
Maybe not.
No, I think
he probably doesn't like good writing.
He likes Stegman.
Donny Cates has been killing in every book. I know every once in a while we're like, hey, Donny Cates, really? You're going to do a good job? Yeah, he does a good job. Ryan Stegman is a great artist, so that'll be exciting to check out. And Avengers #1. This is Jason Aaron, Ed McGuinness. This is May 2nd. Actually, so this is the first one kicking it off. They're going to reveal... Oh, this is just a plug for a look.
I think I'm hopeful for that. Yeah. I like Jason Aaron a lot.
I like Jason Aaron a lot. I am looking forward to
I'm willing to give it a shot.
Are we getting the OG Avengers?
Yeah, it's going to at least be Bruce Banner, Hulk, Odin's son, and Captain America were the ones.
All in.
Iron Man.
All in. Yeah, Iron Man.
I think he was in the picture too.
Okay.
That's the pitch was the core characters can come back.
Hey, guess what, Marvel? Guess when you should have done this? Like 10 years ago when those movies started coming in.
No, I don't know who else.
Whoa, so not the core.
I don't think they really announced the team. I would hope that Jason Aaron has something grand planned for it and not. I think that's the thing about Avengers, that if you're really going to put the team together, and you either need to go small scale or big. And that book just felt like it's been middling in like the middle, like doing weird stuff.
Well, they bring in a lot when they need to. Otherwise, they've got these core characters. Like, no, you either have the whole team or you only have X amount of team, and that's what you have.
Like Hickman's run was grand. That felt great. If you were Bendis' run is very small, very personal, and that's great too. But I feel like they've been trying to just do like these generic like stories recently.
Right, like we're in our base and someone got thrown in here. Like, okay,
now we're gonna beat the shit out of him too.
So we'll see. Jason Aaron's good. Ed McGuinness. Ed McGuinness is a guy that I like. Okay enough to get that book. So a little too bold, but otherwise good.
2
colors though.
I think 6 of those books are what I'll be getting.
Yeah, so some good picks there. Check them all out, and when they announce more, we will let you know. RootsOfTheSwampThing.com, your definitive online source for all things Swamp Thing. Holland Files #2 is out, Garrett. How is it?
Holland Files 2 was awesome. A lot of cool like images that you haven't got to see in Holland Files #1, so definitely looking forward to finishing this bad boy.
And that's not the only thing. If you want to learn more about Swamp Thing, Alex, where would you go?
You're going to go to RootsOfTheSwampThing.com.
Make sure to stay in touch at RootsOfTheSwampThing.com on Twitter, at DCWorldSwampy, Facebook.com/RootsOfTheSwampThing. Speaking of titles, this is Gideon Falls #1. This is Jeff Lemire, Andrea Sorrentino, Dave Stewart. This is the first issue of their new Image comic. What do you guys think? First issue. Does it feel oversized? It's a little bigger? Yes.
A little bigger, yeah.
There's a lot of art telling the story as well.
Alex, what do you think?
It was a different Jeff Lemire book than I was anticipating. Like, I liked it, but there's 2 different parts of the story being told. There's what's the main character's name? It's not. I don't think it's Norton. Wait,
Wilfred?
Yeah, Norton's his last name.
Is Norton? Okay.
Well, Norton's the guy wearing the mask.
Yep.
Wilfred or
Father Fred.
Yep.
Yeah, Father Fred.
So Norton is digging in the trash, finding things. I don't even know what he's finding other than nails and glass shards and broken junk, essentially. And
Norton Sickler.
then I don't know what to expect from this book, because then you get Wilfred, who's been brought into being a priest he's also in Gideon Falls, right?
He just got there, yeah.
Okay, because I assume Gideon Falls was this big city, and then he's kind of like on the outskirts of this town at a church. Runs into a woman who kind of is one of those older ladies who works for your church, or just does stuff for your church. By the way, she has a claw.
She has a hook,
and it blew my mind. Yeah, not a claw, a hook. Kind of threw me off. I was not expecting that.
You know, something I would say, I do feel like this is way different than his other works. But I think in a good way, it's very cinematic, I thought. Like, it very feels like a movie. The way it's paced, the way certain angles are.
Kind of horror.
The way you see stuff like that.
Definitely horror.
The hook hand that you're talking about, like, you see her first and she's talking to him, and you don't really see it, and then, like, the cut is cut right to her hand, but it doesn't call it out to be like, hey, she doesn't mention anything about it, he doesn't mention anything about it. Obviously, they've seen it, like, he saw her with it, so he's not going to bring it up, but it's so jarring. There's a lot of things in this book, this issue especially, that are like so jarring panel to panel, that I think he's trying to like throw you off, being like, what's going on? I don't understand. Like, you feel unease the whole time.
Now, Norrin, or whatever his name is, he's not in Gideon Falls, right? He's in some
I assumed
city.
it was. I thought Gideon Falls was the city.
Well, at the end of the letter pages, Jeff Lemire refers to Gideon Falls as a farming town.
Okay,
so I'm not sure.
So Fred is actually
he's not
in
there. I
Gideon
think
Falls.
he's just having visions of Gideon Falls.
Okay.
He's in a city, some sort of city. So you were talking about Norton is picking up all this trash. He thinks it's all connected, but he doesn't know why until he has that vision of the barn, like big black barn. Speaking of
shit, nails in the barn. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's he's finding pieces of wood and nails.
Yeah.
He's finding the
Dang,
barn.
that
So the whole time, his therapist thinks he's crazy. He's just finding random stuff. He thought for a while that he's crazy, but he's like, I finally think I figured this out, and I can't go back there. But speaking of jarring, so there's a scene when he's walking down the street. He goes past a nail.
I was just going to bring that up.
And he kind of looks back, and the way that Sorrentino colors it is that it focuses on the nail and him. And then you can see him walk back and get the nail. And that's right after his therapist said, hey, you got to meditate. When you feel like you need to pick up something and be like, what's this piece of trash mean? Meditate and forget about it. Just go past it. And you hear this dialogue as he walks past it. And then she goes, and then you won't even need to pick it up anymore. And he goes and picks it up. And I thought that was such a good juxtaposition of the text with also him picking it up, but also kind of jarring because when I saw that nail and he walked past it, I was like, is he going to pick that up? And then you're already thinking like Norton and be like, you should pick that up. Right. So like it kind of makes you like start feeling like Norton, like seeing trash and being
obsession.
Like, what does that mean? Yeah. There was a panel. I don't think if you guys noticed. I don't even know if it's like a printing error or what, but where they're talking, the Father Fred and the lady, and their texts are white bubbles, and also it switches to yellow.
But even
for one panel,
even the therapist, hers are purple for a while, and then like there's color changes in their bubbles.
Text bubble changes, and I wonder if that's another thing to be like throw you off, be like, what's this? All of a sudden, like for a second, it kind of like freaks you out a little bit because you're like, oh, is something happening here? Like, are they like not actually them anymore, or what's happening here? And then it goes back to like regular text. So I don't know if that's intentional or not. If it is, it's a great little trick. Like I've never seen that in the comics to be like to make you think that something weird's going on, because they do that in film every once in a while with horror movies or thrillers or anything like that. Well, they'll change the frame rate or change something that you really would have to notice, like really be into to notice, but anybody else just watches the movie, but they feel weird all of a sudden. They feel like, oh, it's not the same anymore. And that's a nice trick to like make somebody feel uneased. And when I was reading that, I was like, I wonder if this is just a trick for you to be like maybe not everybody noticed, but somebody was like, something happened here.
Right. I didn't remember seeing that.
Feel it.
I had to do the double take for the yellow because it blended in better with. I thought it was the coloring on that panel.
But I think Jeff wants you to do double take to be like, and kind of throw you off to be like, what's that?
And I give props to I think Sorrentino is a good choice for this book.
Yeah, very obscure.
If the idea was to make you feel jar, because there's parts where you're seeing the black barn and the vision, and then upside down is Norton's red colored in this barn that he's thought.
It's like identical, but just not the same colors, obviously.
Mirror image of it, but done differently. This was an interesting book.
I was just saying to these guys before we started the show, like there's that page turn when you see Father Fred as a ghost. I jumped. I like because it was
Father Tom.
You see, no, it was Father Fred.
It was Ted.
Oh, you mean you're right, Tom.
The
Father
dead guy.
Tom. Fred saw him.
Yeah.
Fucking
And then he like
whatever.
runs away, and Father Fred goes after him. First off,
I mean no, I'm saying that page turn right away. I mean,
Yeah.
he's right up
Ghost.
top,
It was
and the eyes
the way
are like
he's
blanked out.
perched
Oh yeah, I'm like,
is
oh
freaked out.
god, I got
And-
goosebumps. I was like,
and the way that Father Fred goes after him without even thinking about it, because he like that also was a nice character moment, because it proved to me like he 100% believes in his religion and believes in the afterlife and ghosts and all that stuff like that, because he didn't even question, be like, oh, is that a ghost? He's like, oh, that's him. That's a ghost.
That's Father Tom. I need to go after him.
I think the biggest praise I can give this book, I really do like this issue in this book. I think it's like, it wasn't pitched as a horror book. We were kind of saying on the forecast that it does feel like it might be kind of like a True Detective, kind of like a David Fincher kind of book, or story. I think there's a lot of books that say, hey, this is a horror book, and then you read it and it tries so hard to be scary that it's not scary. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like blatantly trying to be scary, like try to creep you out, and you kind of know being like, oh, they're over the top because they're trying to scare me. This was very subtle in a way with all that stuff we're talking about here, that it creeped me out because I felt like it was more authentic. Like the perching of that, like the little things, the perch, the looking back at the nail while she's telling that things, and he goes and picks it up, like, and I was thinking, oh, he should pick up that nail. And like, it's making you start think things like those characters, or even like the reveal of the barn, and the way that he's saying, you showed me this vision, and I know what it is now, and I know I'm not alone. Like, even that, in a way, you're hearing this person who thought he was crazy, but he doesn't think he's crazy anymore, like justify his illness in a way. And maybe and you're thinking like, oh, maybe he's not crazy. But then also it's pretty fucking crazy, the situation. Yeah. So now you're all of a sudden being like, oh, he's not crazy. And now you're him. You're justifying it for him. Yep. While you're still not sure if this is all not real for both of them. They both could be crazy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like in that way, like when I got to the end of this issue, I was like, man, that's like a ride your brain takes to reading this whole issue. And like you said, Sorrentino, there's great panels in this issue too. I really do like this a lot. And actually, I believe this is my pick this week, I think. So
I give it a
10 for me.
No, I was thinking 8. I'm going to give it an 8.
Oh, wow.
I did like it, but you know what? Kind of annoyed me. And like, that's just it's my thing. I opened up the first page and I fucking thought it was a printing error because he was upside down right away. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Oh, yeah.
And so I like hit right
That's
away.
Part of what I'm talking about. Though.
I know.
Like, it unhinges you. But like, what's this? Like, there's so many things in this that you're like, well, is this right? And I think that's part of it, to be like, I don't know what's happening right now.
I told you, like, most of the times, issue 1s don't really give me the perfect feeling.
You know what? I thought about you twice today for you saying that about Oblivion Song, which we'll talk about later in Gideon Falls. Because I was trying to think, like, is there enough in this first issue that you said that usually first issues are so much setup that really you don't feel like it's an issue, right? Is that what your thing was?
And like it sets up more questions, obviously, than it does answer. It just starts laying down the seeds.
I feel like Oblivion Song, we'll talk about later in Gideon Falls, I think since they were oversized, I think we did get enough for at least me to be like, oh yeah, I know what's going on. Like I know enough to be like, I can get more of this.
Yeah.
Right. There was enough curiosity for me that I'm like, yeah, I want to know what happens next.
Whereas those DC New Ages books were so short recently, the new number ones, where those felt like, hey, I don't even know what the heck, like, I just like one scene and then it's over. Yeah. So I really did like it. It was good. Alex?
Sorry, I was thinking about this. That book is weird. I'm jarred at just talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, if they ever, I know it's only one issue, but somebody better buy those movie rights.
Let's say if this book keeps on the track it's going, it's going to be.
Oh, did you read the letters at the end? I
read parts of the letters.
He said originally he went to school for film, and this was going to be like a movie he was trying to make, and then he made it into comics.
I did like that letters page. He was explaining his history with comics too. That was really cool.
Good. It was really good.
It makes me want to go back and get some of that old stuff he's working on.
Something else that jarred me was Captain America 699. Well, I'm jokingly, sarcastically, written by Mark Waid and art by Chris Samney. This Captain story has taken a turn from the last issue. I mean, last issue was the turn, and now we're just continuing on. When I see at the end of this book, to be concluded, I could give two craps about this book.
That's
concluding.
What I'm thinking. This book bores me to fucking death.
I thought we were getting Captain, getting back into being Steve Rogers, being Captain, and I get he is being that character. but he's not doing it the way I was expecting, and maybe that's the problem. I went into it expecting Steve to be cross-country skiing, then fighting crime at a cabin, go to a town and, eat ice cream, and then Swordmaster shows up and you gotta beat the shit out of him. This isn't what I was anticipating, and I think that's probably why I'm not enjoying this book.
And that's okay, because I get what you were saying about last issue, Marvin, how this is Captain America, this is what he would do in this situation. It can't always be the same, and it doesn't need to be, but it just, I don't know. That first issue took me out, and then when I get into this, it's he's leading this new regime and things like that, and when a character gets so beyond themselves, in history and whatever, I get he's trying to help establish the new world order, hey, you need leadership because there's going to be another bad guy coming, so on and so forth. But, still, what we were promised from Wade and Samney post Secret Empires, he was going to find himself, whatever, and then it was just hold on, we're going to stop all that exposition. Here's a 3-issue thing leading into 700 about him fighting a war in the future. And I was that's not what I was originally under the impression that he was coming into. And that's fine. I mean, you can't just do the same story over and over again. But I didn't think the 2-3 issues we've already gotten was enough to be oh, he's figured his shit out in Secret Empire.
Yep. I think that originally Mark Waid and Chris Samney were going to do 6 issues that were kind of one-shots. And when they got the call to do a longer run, they decided to do just the 3 that they already had written and to do actual full arc. And that's what we have here. Because I believe they would lead up and then 700 would be the final one-shot that they have. The last issue I did defend a lot between you two. This issue was horrendous.
It was so bad.
It was, and I'm being kind of facetious, but it was so on the nose of what it was trying to tell you. The story was rushed and the pacing was rushed, and there's clearly nothing in this issue that shows me that this was more than a 5-second thought, because a lot of it's oh, hey, yeah, let's be very blatant about these guys are an allegory for our very alt-right today society, and everything is so on the nose. And really, I'm just the whole time I was reading, I was when we talk about when I'm talking about Coach, I think he's gonna be very subtle about it and know how to mix them together. This is so oh, these are these kind of people in our today's society, and Captain with some, and Captain's cheesy every once in a while, but this is super cheesy dialogue, man. And him throwing the shield. There's a couple cool panels from Chris Samney when the explosives and him turning the shield around. That was cool. But Hulk, for 2 seconds they fight and he stops him and was oh man, he took over my mind. And then the Thing turning his thing, thinking he was saving the world. Oh no, guy! Oh no, you were just saving the evil guys. And give me that issue. He says something in that panel that is, oh, God.
I have to admit, I am actually really grateful, Marvin, that you felt the same way that Garrett and I did. Because I was struggling to go, how can Marvin defend this book? This book was just, it's not, right. To me, this is not Captain America.
It's not. And Samney, if it wasn't for Samney, this book, it would be dropped. I'd be yeah. I don't want this. This is not what I want to pay $4 a month for.
Yeah.
This is not quality. This is filler.
The cover made me really excited. And because I really did expect, maybe we're getting to do, the Thing is on one side and Hulk's on the other. Always, oh my gosh, Captain's going to stand in between. I didn't read the bottom of the thing that goes, where it says Hulk versus the Thing. And it goes, well, they're not really them fighting. It's just they're in the book. It's oh, well.
Basically Marvel Bolton.
Yeah, it's okay.
Basically, it's just Captain telling Ben, being I know you want revenge. Gotta know you're entitled. This man and his organizers are mass murderers who stole America. And I was just and then he's yeah, it's clobbering time. And then Captain America's
yeah, it's clobbering time.
And then Captain America's give me my country back. And I was just geez, come on.
It's just cheesy. It's bad.
And it's not even cheesy, tongue in cheek, where I'm yes, I know what you guys are doing. I feel that's how the last, or those 3 one-shots were. They were tongue in cheek when Cap said stuff like that. I smiled and was yeah, that's Cap. He's cheesy. And even there's a little, the last issue even had a moment where I was like, I told you when he stands up with S.H.I.E.L.D.
No.
That moment I did like also, but this one is just like, I don't know. It rings like somebody impersonating Captain America rather than Captain America.
It is Ghost Cap, though.
It is Jim trying to figure it out, but
yeah, but I think it's I'm past the Ghost Cap thing. This seems like a poor choice where those first 3 one-shots were excellent. And I thought even though if the last issue had been a one-shot, he got zoomed into the future, sees what kind of garbage would happen if he wasn't around, wins, and then comes back and goes, wow, that was, great adventure. I got to go to South Dakota, or I have to go to Canada, or wherever he needs to go to keep.
Go to Canada to figure out America.
Hey, sometimes you need to leave the States.
You know what the biggest,
to fix it.
And I think we say it multiple times in the show, the biggest thing this comic does wrong is that it's not bad, it's boring. And I read the whole issue being like, why should I care? Why do I care that Ben was tricked by these guys? Like, why was he even tricked? You have mind powers, you can control the Hulk, but you didn't do that to Ben. You have to like give him a lie, and Ben never once was like, "Hey guys, you
never questioned it.
You guys actually up there doing okay?" And like he just,
I like how that blast, like explosive, like nuclear blast, can't do anything to him, but a fucking mind ray. Oh, I'm your slave for 20 years.
No.
Like 5 years, like it's like okay, well, that doesn't make sense.
And you're right. I saw at the end it was like to be concluded in the Grand issue 700. And I was like, for what? Why isn't 700 some big one-shot story about Captain America celebrating his history or a start of a new arc or something rather than conclusion to this story, which clearly feels like you are just trying to make a statement.
And that's what makes me mad because we're probably paying $5, if not $6, for that issue 700, and it's going to be fucking horrible.
All it's going to do is bring Captain back to the current time.
And then I was like, at the end of this issue, I was like looking forward to like that Babington guy, like, okay, this whole book will pay off if he was like, I've been controlling you the whole time since you've been in ice and you actually didn't go into the future. I would have been like, okay, that's better than the entire fucking thing you just tried to pull.
Let me just make a disclaimer because I've been meaning to say it on the show for a while because I know there's a lot of people, there's a comic movement online right now that I don't even want to talk about. But there's a comic movement online right now about people, I don't even talk about it. But I just want to clarify that this criticism is coming from somebody who a lot of people would think that is way too far left. I'm very liberal and I'm very everything that this book wants to say, I agree with. Everything they wanted, like the point of this book, yes, I agree with. But you don't have to make the message so boring that I feel as somebody who agrees with it, that you're pandering to me in a way that when I'm reading to this, I'm like, yes, I know what you're saying, but how are you ever going to get more people involved if you clearly are just like
hand holding,
like saying it in a way that's kind of like, yeah, everybody else is dumb for not thinking this way, which might be true, but still there's a subtle way to do it. I think a way to get people involved and on your side. This was like a 4 for me. I don't know. Chris Samney had a good panels, but other than that, I don't see why it didn't just end in this issue. It could have.
Should have.
What else is there to tell?
I see that cover for 700.
Crossbones in to shoot him one more time.
I see that cover for 700, and I'm like, I don't care.
The only way 700 is great is if one page is the end of the story, and then the rest is him back in his time.
And we know that's not.
It won't be.
Or now that he's gone, it says Captain, the leader that they need, the Cap King. Maybe it's just a one-shot story about Captain saying why he can't be. I don't know what you can do.
And for a second there, I was like, oh, well, at least this will tie back to the whole reason he doesn't want to be a leader because of Secret Empire, which was promised when this arc started. But I doubt it's even going to fucking touch it.
I was going to give it a 5. I would actually agree with Marvin. It's a 4.
100%.
All for the art.
Yep.
Nothing
Samney. That's why when you were talking about Wade in the free talk, I was like, after reading this, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, my trust is oofed.
I thought by the way, I'm gonna make a bet now. I bet we never hear about Evil Cap ever again.
I'm sure not. I'm sure.
I'm never gonna forget.
Like all this news about Captain America #1, nobody ever mentioned Evil Cap. So
nope. Hydra Supreme is gone.
I will never forget. Marvel, I will always remember. All right. Next book we got is Oblivion Song #1, written by Robert Kirkman with art by Lorenzo De Felici, and the colorist being Annalisa Leone. So we get a book about A guy, I can't remember his name right now. Nolan, who he was part of a program where so basically what happened, it kind of reminds me of Cloverfield, very much of the concept. And what I got from the story, there's an event that was called the Transference. I obviously don't know everything about it, but in the Transference, obviously, the monsters leaked into our Earth.
Yeah.
They leaked into our Earth. And during this, like when the two dimensions separated again, that separate dimension, and I'm grabbing at straws here because this is what I'm trying to pull. It took some of the Earth.
Brought the city with it.
Right, brought some of the city, or at least the populace of that city with it. No, you're right. They did say they took a chunk of the city.
Yeah.
And it took everyone that was in that chunk with it to that other monster dimension. So Nolan, his thing is he goes in, extracts people, and brings them back to Earth, saves them from these horrific monsters using teleportation technology.
Well, and even the not to cut you off, even the
Yeah,
atmosphere is destructive for humans.
Right.
That it actually kind of it makes you sick. It almost, not that it's the same as rabies, but it does give you almost a rabies feel where you're just kind of manic and everything is bad.
I think you're changing into those monsters. We see at the end of the issue, there's a group of people, and they have like their monster arms, but they're human. Yeah, so I think it changes.
And one of them is his brother.
I thought you said I was changing into one of those monsters. And I thought, what?
I was wondering why you were just staring at me, being like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
You can tell Nolan, like his motivations for doing this. He calls it, it's called the Oblivion, is where the other dimension is. His motivations is his brother is somebody that also got taken to the Oblivion.
Do they call it Oblivion?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it's called the Oblivion.
No, they call it the Wastelands, I thought.
No, the Oblivion, and then it's called the Oblivion Song.
The Oblivion Song.
The sound.
It's all the sounds that are going on.
Yeah, that's the sounds going on. But I don't think he refers to it as
I
Oblivion.
think they call it the Oblivion.
Well, either way, I mean, we can call it the Oblivion. I don't remember them actually calling it
No, I don't
that.
either. I remember they call it something else.
I thought it was I thought it was still the Transference.
That's the event.
Oh.
You just keep talking.
Well, I'm looking at the book with you.
The thing about this issue and the thing that I enjoyed the most was that I had a couple
Top left up here.
preconceived notions before getting to this book. I knew it was Kirkman, so I thought for a while that it would feel too much like Walking Dead. It didn't, in a good way.
We do have confirmation they do call it the Oblivion.
That's a typo.
I'm right about something for once.
And I thought it would be a lot like Walking Dead. Not that Walking Dead is not good. I mean, it's getting kind of stale lately, but Oblivion Song did feel like a totally it felt like good Kirkman, and the ideas were fresh. Did you feel like
that's why I was thinking fresh.
Didn't feel like there was anything that he just borrowed and changed it for sci-fi Walking Dead. You know what I mean?
He said he's been thinking about this for quite a few. He said I don't know how many years, but he said he's been thinking about it for a while lately.
Thought that was great. I thought the art was great. He talks about on the letter pages at the end that he sought out that guy. He found him online, and kind of while he had this idea in his head, he always knew that he was going to pick that guy. And then he waited till he had enough to be like, do you want to do this comic with me? And then they worked together to work out things. And I do love, if you read the letter pages, that he does also say, I know I'm notorious for delays. He says, but we've written 13 of these already, so I'm a year ahead. And I hope that means this book will never be delayed. And he says that he knows that was Gideon Falls. Never mind. Gideon Falls, they know the whole story. But I do think that a year is enough for this book never to be delayed. And that makes me more excited to read it. Knowing that Kirkman, who's a guy who usually gets stuff delayed except for Walking Dead, so I think that
he even admits in his letter comment, he's like, I didn't even know I do delays all the time.
And everything felt fresh. I don't think I've ever that's the thing. When I saw the solicit and I saw the pictures, I was like, it feels like I've read this before. But then when I actually read it, it felt like, I don't think any of this stuff is there's a lot of good stuff in here that's brand new.
The cinematic opening, when you're just looking at art for the first 10 pages, that opening,
I think
so good.
I was going to say, when they're in the Oblivion and he talks about the Oblivion Song, how quiet it is if the monsters aren't there. I think that's part of the beginning, and then when he goes back later, that's why there's silent panels, because it's so quiet, there's nothing really going on.
Right, it's this is the quote that it opens with, the breeze, the creatures in the distance, insects. It all came together it sounded like nothing I've ever heard before. It was like music. The silence was so deafening you're right that it almost was its own little tune.
There was one thing for me that as I'm reading the book, at least in the first 10 pages, I called what was going to happen. Not throughout the rest of the book, just what was going to happen in that scene.
With his brother?
No. Where he shoots the two humans to get them back to Earth, and then his teleportation device doesn't work.
Yeah.
I was like,
well, that was his last resort.
No, I know, but it was like one of those things. Right after he shot him twice, I thought, I'm thinking he's going to get stuck, getting chased by this thing, and the only way to save himself is to tase himself so that he'll go back. Solid.
I do like the world that he built in this one issue, even though it is oversized. Going back to what Garrett said about number one issues, I do feel like we learned enough about the situation, the setting, the what certain people thought. That, there's two different people who believe that those people were sent there for a reason, and then also the government doesn't want to go there anymore and waste money, and then he really wants to go. We learned a lot about his brother. There's a lot of stuff that went on in this issue enough for me to be like, I think I know not exactly, but I know enough of the story to be interested for issue number 2.
I liked 2 character points for at least our main character is after he saves people, there's a wall in I assume the other half of the city that's still on Earth that is a memorial towards everyone who is gone, is lost in the Oblivion. And he saves I think it's called the Crenshaws, I think was the husband and wife. And he goes in the night and he chisels out their name or scratches their name up and off. And I just thought that was a really good moment right there.
And it's
that
cool.
It's like my objective is this wall, is for everything to be scratched off. I respect that. And the government and I think his girlfriend, who he goes to ask to be funded to go do this. He's doing this out of his own pocket to go save all these people because the government's kind of written him off. We made this memorial for a reason. Why would we ever go save them? I mean, they're dead. And I think what was the part I was trying to get to? I got to the wall. There's something else I was going to say to you guys. Shit.
I got something while you're thinking about it. What this book really amps me up to get excited about is they're amping you up for the transference, which was like the big event that had this happen. The last panel we get is you see a picture in the past of, I assume that's Nolan, with his daughter or something, and this is the first appearance of the creatures into Earth. It's 3 panels, and I was like, that gets me so excited to learn what happened, how this happened. Yep. I think Cloverfield, I think Pacific Rim. I just think it's interesting how they leak into our world, and which creates this whole other storyline. So I mean, this is fun. This is just a fun book and great, great art, great writing, and I'm excited to see where the series goes.
I remember what the last part was. So the government's actually mad, and they say, well, we're not going to help you. We're not going to fund this because all you're going to do is go find your brother. That's the whole point. You're doing this hunting down these people. But I think for as long as he's been doing it, I guess I don't know how many people he has saved. I'm assuming a good chunk. I don't foresee him going, well, I saved my brother. Fuck everybody else. That it's like this government is so... they've got this tunnel vision of oh, well, we're not going to help you because you're not seeing the whole big picture. He's trying to save everybody. Yes, the motivation to do it was his family, but that'd be like getting mad at Batman for fighting all this crime because he wants to help other families not suffer. Yes, he's doing it for his family who died, but so that no one else has to live the life he has.
He even says in that one panel when when his girlfriend confronts him about cross out the names, being like, you make all those other families feel sad that their families aren't coming back and that you found those 2 people. And he's like, I'm not trying to make them feel bad. I want the government to feel bad that these people are still out there and they're never going to come back because you don't care enough to go get them.
And he also uses this for hope too. He's like, I want people to have hope that their loved ones can be returned to them.
So I think Alex is correct. I don't think he really, I mean, it's certainly, and we'll see in the upcoming, because we find out that he's alive. It's certainly, an aspect of his character that is motivation, but I don't think it's his whole reason for doing it.
No.
And
it may have been to begin with, but not anymore.
We do see he goes there one time and he finds a dead body. He says, well, if this is you, then I'm sorry for what I did, and I'm sorry that this happened to you. And he buries that dead body.
Do you like how he takes the mouth
loved it.
imprint so you can find out who it is?
Yep. Cool. I loved that. That was one of my favorite small little scene that at first I thought, what is he doing? Oh my God, he's putting to get their teeth so you can get the dental records.
I thought that was a very Kirkman thing. When I saw that, I was like, yeah, of course he did that.
With Ed, when we barely touched this, like his motivations to go into the Oblivion is to save his brother Ed. It turns out that Ed had planted the Crenshaws he doesn't know that it's his brother, because we don't know how long in this universe they've been there. They assume 10
so much
years.
so that Ed doesn't really even know who he is. He doesn't know that that's his brother.
And he's mutating into a monster.
Yeah. So there's a lot of good
buddies.
And now they're going to set a trap for whomever is catching these people, because now they're questioning, what are they doing with our people?
Right. Because this is their world now.
Yep.
It was good. It was a solid 8 for me. It was fun.
I'd agree 8.
I'm giving it a 10. I just loved it cover to cover.
I haven't read enough Kirkman things. Yeah, I read Super Dinosaur, whatever. I've read bits and pieces of Walking Dead, so I don't have this. Kirkman's the best. I really enjoyed it. Thought the art was good. Colors were nice. Story's interesting. But it actually kind of had a Reuben flair to me. Just like the monsters kind of had a Reuben look to them.
David Rubin.
Yeah, sorry.
3-minute sandwich.
I mean, you can just tell, like, there's some pieces of work that that are going to be long lasting. Like, this is like if I read Saga number 1, which I haven't. And I mean, you'd know that the potential that it could create. Yeah. Like, that's the excitement I have for this series.
The Wild Sword number 12. This is Warren Ellis, John Davis Hunt with Steve Bocello assisting. I guess is so I said on the forecast that I thought this was the last issue and then we would get a break, but I do remember reading this was the kind of like breaking point for something that was happening, and they would set up the rest of the things. So what we learn in this issue, or what happens in this issue, is the 3 factions that we've been following this whole time kind of become aware of each other and aware that they're all kind of in a war together now, and I think this is going to lead off into becoming the war for the last 12 issues. And I thought this issue was really fun and great action scenes.
The action scenes were brutal.
Dude, when the Wildcats go in to take out those people, because they're attacking this what do they call it, the lighthouse, is that what it's called? The
Hightower.
They're called the Wildcats.
Yeah,
that's what that team is, the Wildcats.
I didn't know
Wildcats. When they attack the Hightower, they're not involved with IO or Skywatch. And so they're attacking it at the same time that IO is attacking it. But they're not aware of each other. So they come in, kill those guys, blow it up while they're trying to transfer information out. IO is. And they go, we weren't able to get out in time before it blew up. But they got all other Skywatch's information. And now they have that in Skywatch. You see that panel where they become aware of being like, I need a body. The guy goes, I need a body. And we see the guy the hacker who is in charge of getting all the information, thinks he's getting picked up by some sort of Uber or Lyft or whatever it's called in this universe. And then the lady shoots him in the head. Like, there's everything about this issue. And also I do like when they're setting up the beginning where they're just hacking, she's like, all right, go. And then they all just sit there in the room. He's like, is anything going on? And she goes, we're just, we're hacking in. Like, it's not really that exciting. It's all happening on the computer. And I thought it was funny. There's a couple. I thought this was like, there's a lot of funny stuff in this issue that actually made me laugh out loud.
Was one of them explodey? That's like my new favorite phrase. Like how much she's obsessed with that word.
I thought that was funny. But
how it sounds.
Let me find what made me laugh out loud. But I thought the whole issue was well paced for, like, we talked about this a while somewhere with them. There's a couple issues where there's a lot of information. I feel like that was the last couple issues. And then there's always one issue where it's like, it all comes to a head and, kind of be like, okay, this is why I read this book. Not that the other stuff isn't good, but there's so much information, and then it leads to this be like, oh, that's what all that was for.
I'll admit this issue specifically was a good mix of art telling story, watching a good fight scene. Not necessarily a lot of wordiness, but there was wordiness to keep moving the story along. But there's been other issues where it's a lot of words and a lot of what's the right word? You guys say it all the time, and I can't think of what it's called.
Hand holding?
No, kind of hand holding. We're just like, okay, what are we moving towards?
I always forget her name. What's the lady with the white hair?
Oh, Zealot, the one that's in the car,
right? And like you can tell that the blonde guy was like leaking information to all kinds of factions. So like she wants to help. At least the wild. Have they? Okay, that's another question I have to ask. Did you guys know that before this book that they're called the Wildcats? They haven't ever said.
It was an earlier issue. Yeah,
and they've been because that's what
they call themselves the Wildcats in the series.
They say put together a Wildcats team.
Yep.
Oh, I don't remember that, but
It's even in this book. They talk about a wildcat.
Yeah.
weird. But she's protecting them, Zealot is, but also protecting her faction that she's kind of maybe
That she
double
works
agenting for. Yeah, so that was kind of cool.
What made me laugh out loud is when I forget who this character's name is. The one that says Explodey. What's her name?
Kanesha.
She's talking to Drifter, talking to
Grifter.
Grifter. What did I say? Drifter.
You said Drifter. Different book.
Yeah, different book. She goes, "You're the worst human in the history of humans, and I'm thousands of years old, so, I met most of them. So let's go." And he goes, "Wait, you told me you met Hitler one time." She goes, "And?"
Yeah, right.
Like, you made me laugh out loud. Yeah, but the action was great in their panels, which is like what that team is all about. Wildcats is about being like this action covert team. So their panels made sense. We have the IO, which is like very science-based. That made sense that's the way they attack is via stealing information. And then Skywatch is in the air and they're so oblivious what's going on that they didn't realize until they're losing all their information that they are in a war. He even says at the end, actually that was IO. She's like, "We need to figure out what's going on before we start a war." And she goes, "I think we're already in a war."
I think we're already there.
I thought it was great. I'm really looking forward to the next 12 and see where this goes.
What do you think my problem with this book was?
I already know. It's Engineer wasn't in the book.
Yeah, that's the only problem I had. Otherwise, it's a great book.
She's not even mentioned in the book.
I know she's not even mentioned. I don't see this Wildcats thing.
That's something you guys gotta get over sometime, right?
What?
That's comics, right?
I didn't say I had the problem with it.
The cover's never about
My favorite
Yes, they
character is
do.
already in the book.
only people who do that is DC.
Grifter
Because they don't try to cheat you.
Grifter was in the book, and Zealot was in the book. She even killed somebody. I was like,
What's
This is DC.
Grifter's? That's
Cash Cole?
Cash. That's what I was thinking of. Not really. Wildstorm and Brent.
Well,
Either way,
DC Wild.
That's one of DC's
but
15
there's
imprints.
a variant cover that's got Grifter on it.
That was
so
a 9
it's,
for me. Strong.
8.
I would go with an 8 as well.
I liked this issue. It was really good. But in all honesty, I kind of did have that built up, and I don't even think it was through you that built it up. Oh, that's going to be the end of this arc. We're going to go into the next, not arc necessarily, but it's going to be a climax. It really was, but it's the start of the war.
That action scene where he had the sniper below his chin and he shot him and it blew through the top of his head. Every time I read an action in this book, I'm always like, I'm pretty sure Alex likes this action.
I even had when I watch these action scenes, I follow it to the T on how it went down, where Grifter jumped on the guy and then shot the other one,
There's a lot of comboing in these action scenes where things chain.
and then he shoots him.
Yeah. Where they chain and they're just not just like individual actions.
Yep.
Like you said, Grifter took that guy down by jumping on him, knees to shoulders. And while he's doing it, he shoots the other guys and then he shoots the guy. Like, it all makes sense. And I'm very curious if that's John Davis Hunter or if that's Warren Ellis.
Sorry, I was gonna say, I like how when they do all three of them fighting these bad guys, I'm going to call them. They do focus. Here's Kenesha killing this one guy into the next one, and then the next page was Cash killing these guys. So I really enjoyed that fight scene.
I just looked through this whole comic. They don't say Wildcats once in any panel, but they have a whole page devoted to Explodey. Like, she explains Explodey like it's a good word, and then Grifter's like, "Come on, like, really?" And she's like, "It is the best word. It is carefully chosen." I just love that word.
Yes, when I think of this book, you are Kenesha to me.
I think that I want to put on the back of my iPad, I want to put Explodey. Just because this book.
That's how I would want to talk to you when you go, Explodey is like the best word. Really?
That made me laugh too.
No.
When Cash was like, usually I can't understand what the hell you're saying, but now all of a sudden you're using a word like Explodey. That made me laugh too.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was good.
Would you give an 8?
Yes.
Okay. Concurred. You know what I gave a better score to? Batman number 42, written by Tom King, art by Mikhail Hanin.
Hanin with
his colors by, I'm assuming, Jordi Belair. No,
somebody else.
Chung. I don't know. I'll find it.
Maybe Hanin works for somebody else sometimes because it's like a lot more grainy, realistic. I don't know.
June Chung is color.
Yeah, it's June. She usually does his colors.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I told these guys right before I even opened the cover that the way Hanin draws Superman, like where there's no like texture in his suit, like kind of like your old vintage Christopher Reeve like costume, looks great.
I think the way he draws all of these Justice League is great.
Yeah.
Like when I look at Flash, it doesn't look like he's got even any friction. He does look like he's frictionless when he's running. I feel like I was kind of, well, not necessarily right, because it doesn't sound like Catwoman and Pam are actually friends. Like they know of each other, but they were never. It doesn't sound like they were ever on Gotham City Sirens. This issue specific, I loved 41. 41 was the 10. This one was a little more crazy for me.
You got nuts real quick.
Yeah.
My favorite part about this is Superman like hovering like the entire issue, and like obviously when we get to the end, we'll talk about it here in a second, but how he's just kind of like there as like an ominous threat. Like it kind of gave me chills, like in a sense. I'm like, how terrifying would that be? And I like how Batman calls him Superman the whole issue. He's like, but he doesn't call him Clark. Yeah. He says Clark knows how to do this thing. Superman does not. Like I like that. That was cool.
I laughed out loud when Catwoman is in the car and she goes, "I can't believe you let us leave," talking to Superman.
Yeah.
That was good.
You can just see his face. Like, what'd you say?
What? The internet is on fire about this issue because a lot of them don't like it. Really? For multiple reasons.
Lay it on me.
They're mad that Catwoman is so powerful. Can take out 2 flashes. They're mad. They think that it
don't
just
cats
feels
have
off
great
character.
reaction time?
Well, here's the thing. I actually really did like this issue.
Well, they're not faster than light.
Sorry, I ate some peanut butter. I'm not sure why.
Not sure why.
We're not supposed to be talking.
It smells good though.
I feel like I like this issue a lot, but here's the thing. I like it a lot. Great. The art's great. The issue's great.
He's not going to break
Tom
up
King's
with you.
Dialogue.
You tell him that it's not a great book.
No. It's not that. I'm just saying that
Chris Samney will break up with you, though.
Yes, you forgot it.
their words, the vocal minority online that don't like this issue will have to get over the fact sometime that Batman stories aren't always going to be the same. I feel like this is a very different Batman story, and I think it's good for that reason. Like you said, there's a lot of comedy. There's a lot of like this. Like when we were talking about the forecast, I said the last issue, I think it felt like this was going to go in a generic place, even though I did like the last issue a lot. I felt like, oh, what's this going to be? Poison Ivy taking over the world? What's that story going to be? We've seen that story a million times of her trying to take over the world. And then this issue was Catwoman and Batman trying to coexist in the world. Like, not really trying to stop her anyway, but being like, oh, I guess this is how it is. And they kind of talk, they're still talking about their wedding. It was like, I guess I have to have Ivy as my maid of honor and my best man because she's obviously in control of the world. Like, everybody is her
the
now.
Officiant. And
You basically had to annoy the shit out of her to get her like to snap out of like controlling everybody.
I thought it was a very unique way to take this story and do it differently. And then we get a scene where Bruce is hanging from the thing and Superman punches him and kills him, but she brings him back.
And isn't that kind of cool too? Like the concept of it all. It's like Batman and Superman. How many times have they fought? And you're like, every
Superman,
time that it gets close to Superman killing him, like that's not going to happen. There's no way. And then this time you see Superman literally punch him as hard as he can.
So it just proves the fact that Superman could always kill him in one punch, but he always holds back.
Right.
And the reason why I think she can beat those flashes is because all these people are controlled by Poison Ivy.
who doesn't know their max.
Who doesn't know how to control these people. Doesn't know how to control them. Doesn't really know. Like, she knows just to go fast with the Flash. She doesn't actually know how to use the speed. And I think that she really doesn't really want to hurt him that much. She obviously killed Bruce on accident because she brought him back to life. She's like, oh shit, I killed this guy. She didn't realize the strength behind Superman's behind Superman's punch. I was going to say punch.
She didn't know the strength behind that poop.
It's behind Superman's punch. So she kills Batman, which also the Heinein's art in that panel was great. His face. I really liked it a lot, but I certainly do see. I do see their viewpoint, but I'm saying I don't think their viewpoint is valid. Like, at some point, you have to tell a different story. Like, how many Batman stories are you going to have the same?
I'm surprised there was as many complaints that you noticed, like Uprising, basically. Like, I don't think there was enough. It was crazy.
Go on Twitter and search for that issue. Crazy.
I actually really enjoyed it.
I feel the fear in this. Like, this book seems scary right now.
Yeah.
Knowing that Pam has control of everybody other than Bruce and Selena.
You know what the thing is, though? Go back and listen to our last week's episode with Mikey, Comic Genie. In the part where we talk about, like, he talked about when do you think that comics are just going to become stale? And I was like, you really need to. The thing is that comic book readers are always like, hey, I want I want something brand new. Like I'm ready for an exciting new story. And then you try it like this issue is trying to do. And then they're like, hey, this isn't always how I've known
Then
it.
you get punished.
Catwoman's never been this powerful before. The Batman's usually not this jokey and all this stuff. And it's like, dude, but if you want a different story, it's got to be a different story. The only way they ever accept it, and I know now we're kind of talking about fans, but the only way they ever accept it is if you do, like DC announced a new Black Label this week, where they're going to give the free reins over to creators like Frank Miller, Brian Azzarello, and Greg Rucka, and Kelly Sue DeConnick, and be like, do whatever you want with the story. There's no, they said they're not going to be involved, like really tell them what they can do at all. No restrictions.
Sweet.
To do whatever they want. And people are going crazy being like, this is a great idea. I can't believe, like, yes, give it the free reign to the storytellers is how it should be. But then when they try to in their main continuity, they go crazy being like, this is not my character. I can't believe you trying to change them. But change is evolution. These characters have to evolve. Otherwise, you're going to get the same, like we were talking about in the forecast, what I assumed would be. I don't know why at this point. I should know Tom King's not going to do the same thing. That Poison Ivy story we've heard a million times before. This is way different than the Poison Ivy I've heard
And then
before.
didn't they explain like her reasoning behind the whole thing?
Yeah, she wants peace in the world.
Right.
She thinks
somebody
if she
got
can-
hurt.
If
like
she
Kid
can
did.
control everybody, she thinks that she can make sure that everybody's safe and loves
Who's
each
the
other.
kid?
I thought there was a kid.
No, Bruce goes to his house. That's where they're going in this issue.
Oh, that's right.
Because there's a kid that can't eat vegetables because it makes him sick. And she says that she controls everybody because they ate the vegetables, and then that's how she controls them with the vegetables. And she's like, he wasn't at his house, so you're obviously not controlling him. Where is he at? And Bruce is like, where is he? I know you can't control him because he doesn't eat vegetables, but he wasn't there at the house. And so that's where we're going now. She's trying to prove that, like, yes, you're saying you want to save everybody, you want everybody to love each other, but this one kid who you cannot control, obviously you did something with him. Where is he at? So You're not making sure that everybody loves each other. You're not treating this kid the same. So, like, it's a very, in three different fronts. It was a fun story, I thought. We get the Catwoman, Bruce wedding stuff still going on. And Poison Ivy, nice to tell, be like, is she really good or is she still just being selfish, like for her own needs?
And can you give it to Tom King if he establishes one thing out of this whole Bat mythos? Fuck yeah, Batburger! Like that place.
That was good.
I mean, come on.
Well, that's isn't that in the Kingdom Come?
Yeah, it was in Kingdom Come, but I don't know if they really called it Batburger. I think he's making it his own thing. But the one thing I didn't like is the fact I think War of Jokes and Riddles was such a small thing. They make it seem like this epic thing that happened that like changed a lot of things. And remember how like they just like glossed over all these huge battles and they could have made it crossover.
Oh, that's who she
heavy.
killed. She talked about she killed so many words.
Right. She killed a lot of people. She said because Joker and Riddler made me go crazy.
I was afraid of them.
And I saw those 2 pages and I was like, that took me out. I was like, come on. Like that's not why. Like it could be that just through your villainy over the years, you could have been like, okay, I've done a lot of bad. I want to try and do some good. Like that would have just been easy enough.
I think
for me,
what
but-
Alex was saying, they're kind of rewriting continuity way, being like, because you're right, she has been evil in the past.
Right.
And now she's saying that's the only thing she's ever done that was evil. And she's kind of been good since then. And they didn't mention Gotham Sirens at all. Like they didn't mention they were part of a team. No. But I think that's Tom King's way of being like, we're doing something different. So.
I know, but I didn't think War of Jokes and Riddles was enough to create a staple off of me being like, oh yeah, that totally fucked her up.
As for villain wise, I never think Jokes and Riddles was that big of a deal, other than Kite Man and Bruce deciding I really was going to kill somebody.
Right.
Wasn't able to finish the job. And this is one of those books, if anybody's having a problem with Bruce dying, it lasted literally a panel. And I didn't even need the science behind how she brought him back. She's in control of everything. Why wouldn't it make sense?
Yeah, I really did like it. To go off what you were saying, Garrett, I didn't really like. I just glossed past that part. I didn't really think it was that big of a deal.
Right.
I didn't remember what she was referring to in Joke and Riddles. I was just like, okay. I assumed that you killed somebody then.
Yeah. Well, they all killed everybody.
It gave me a bad taste in my mouth.
It was a good 9.
Yeah, I gave it a 9 for sure.
41 was a 10. The 42, I'd agree 9.
I just can't believe how much people hate it. Go online, but
really,
ignore
that's
those
crazy.
people also.
I tell you what, I love Poison Ivy. Like this is
It's great art.
so yeah,
And the story was great. So
yeah.
So next we have Sadness, a fond farewell to our LA Belle. Or do we? It's Hawkeye number 16, written by Kelly Thompson, with art by Leonardo Romero and colors by Jordi Belair. The conclusion, question mark, not really, of up to this point, Kelly Thompson's run for Kate Bishop. We get the conclusion of the ongoing struggle with Eden, I think is her name, who can use people's blood to bring back people you love, Madame Mask, and Kate's hunt for her mother. What'd you guys think?
It was good. I actually was expecting a little bit more of a end. Because, I mean, nothing really gets finished up.
That's true. I think it would have been different if they hadn't told me that it was coming back. If they would have said this is the end, I would have been like, okay, so this is this is something you put in your story but never going to get any payoff.
Maybe I guess it's, even when it says the end question mark, it's like, you could have left the question mark off. Let me think that this is the end.
I mean, how Marvel is doing their thing. They did cancel this book, but I think there was so much fan outcry that they were like, okay, we need to bring this back. But it was too many things that happened in the line. They're like, okay, we have to wait till this time to bring it back now.
I suppose.
Or whatever next project it is. The comedy, great as ever. I thought the comedic beats in here was so good. Romero's art, like just the contrast between both Hawkeyes. And the fighting, like the action scenes, Romero just gets down. And they work so cohesively together. Like, that's the fun part. Like, you get Guy Hawkeye, like, slapping something away while Kate's, like, firing an arrow at the same time. Just like, gosh, they're so fluid together. It's just fun.
I had one of my favorite things that was in the AHA run is when they use special arrows. Is great. When they even go, this is the glue arrow, or this is that something arrow, the smoke arrow. Who is it? Swordman that Clint fights.
Yep.
And Swordman swings his sword down at Clint, goes to slice him in half, and Clint has a arrow in his hand. Swordman asks, "Is that an adamantium arrow?" Yeah, it is.
Well, you see when he kicks him, his arrow goes in the air, and you don't see anything until boom, it hits the door. So that's kind of like cool how like he's got an exploding arrow, that adamantium arrow, and when it like in the background, it's flying, and then you see that it goes off, and then now we're dealing with Kate's situation. I was like, that's such good attention to detail.
Yep.
I think I'm with Garrett saying that I really didn't think this. Like if they didn't say that part of the end in the letter pages that she's like, oh, she'll be back in August, right?
August
in some sort of form, then I would have been like, there's a lot of loose ends here. Like, yeah, I don't know where this is going. But since I know that eventually she'll be on a book with Kate involved, that I think we will get some answers to that. So I do feel like there are a lot of things in here that were kind of trying to wrap up certain things, but then they left some things open enough that she's going to
continue the story.
On. Yeah, because like Garrett said, I think she like found out being like, oh yeah, we're going to do this other book. She's like, oh, okay. And so she included kind of little nuggets to be like, oh, this is what the next book's going to be about. But I kind of wish there was a little bit more about her and her friends, like in conclusion to that. But I assume maybe we'll get some of that,
right?
Whatever the next book is. But yeah, it was fun. It was a nice, like this issue really did feel like the whole series has felt. It was good art, fun. There was a lot of stuff being like a lot of intrigue, being like, oh, her mom's still alive, and then the part with what's her name with the blue hair?
The what?
The lady with the blue hair,
Eden.
There was stuff with Eden about with her daughter and stuff like that. That was also serious with the comedy.
Ooh, almost teared up reading that part.
And that's what I mean. Like this was like the perfect example of what this book could do. And I really did feel like if it needed to not end, but be put on a pause for a while, this was the perfect issue to be like, hey, don't worry. This is a great issue for you to read right now, but we'll be back.
And I think on that with August and whatnot, I think the only thing that was like crammed in here was the fact that Johnny's got like stone arms. That part I was like,
is he supposed to be
okay?
Is he supposed to be like Darwin?
He may be, because that's who he seems to be from X-Men First Class.
Yeah,
at least where I know him from is Darwin.
So I was because she goes, oh, thank you for saving me with your stone hands. He goes, well, they're not exactly stone hands, and he's like, I'll tell you later. So I was like, oh, he must like adapt to whatever it is.
Made in contact with,
or maybe he's a relative of what's is Orbiting Man? Is that his name?
Yeah.
So who knows?
Where he touched the certain.
I don't know enough
materials
about that world to figure out who he is, or maybe it's already been announced and we just don't know about it. But
I think the one thing for me is that Madame Mask has been in all the Hawkeye books, that there's never an outcome. But I did like that at the end of this issue, you see Kate's mom. And I loved how Kate's mom handles Madame Mask. You get out of that clone of my daughter, or I will kill next person I tell it to will be your dead corpse. So, wow.
I did find it kind of great that the whole series we've been seeing Kate's mom as the victim in all these situations as this helpless victim, and then you find out she is more powerful than Madame Mask and she's in charge of this all. So how's that going to affect Kate when she finds that out, that her mom is not some helpless villain and she's alive, first off, but then also she's trying to do something with Kate, kill Kate, capture Kate, do something with Kate. Like, how much is that? Like, there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of stuff here where I'm like, I want to see where that goes. I'm glad that we will eventually. I'm glad that's Kelly Thompson. Obviously, it's going to be involved. I'm not sure if Leonardo Romero's going to be involved because he's going to be doing Captain America now. Oh, not Captain America.
Yeah, so he can't be doing Captain because we just talked about that earlier, didn't we?
Oh, no, he's doing the last, he's doing the issues of Captain with Mark Waid before Lenoa used.
Okay, cool. Did you guys notice this big Easter egg? When you do see her turn, she's wearing the necklace that was of huge importance earlier in this series.
And it turns out maybe Kate's dad is okay. He saved them a couple times and then he took off. So now we have role reverse. We thought his dad was evil or her dad was evil. Turns out he's okay. And turns out the mom's evil. So
I love this. I do love this last panel where she explains what anchor points are. Like, you know, those things that we see and like the whole time. She's like, anchor points were what I started with, what brought me here, what I was looking for, but now I found all new ones worth sticking around for, because who knows what's next. And I was like, that's a cool quote.
Yeah, I like that panel. I just wish that was like a page.
Right. Give it a whole something to read.
Not even just like that panel as a page, but like a whole page about the fan.
What if the next book was called like Hawkeye Investigations, and you got both Hawkeyes and this whole group of people?
I told you I'm ready. I'm going to get a guess. Young Avengers. That's what I'm going to guess.
No guesses.
So we'll see. Either. Good book, though. I really like it. It's a 9.
Give it a 9 as well.
Stuff.
Agreed.
Maybe, like I said, good that we're getting more of it. And I would hope that everybody goes back in with our little break that we have here and catch up on this series and then jump on board with it or whatever Kelly Thompson does.
Looks so good.
The covers have always been great. They're all Leonardo Romero's covers, or there's somebody else?
I think so. I think Romero's done them all.
Coloring is different, though, isn't it?
Jordy Blair on colors.
I bet Blair did that.
Is that?
Yeah.
Good stuff. You know, the letter page was really great, too. I love that page about Kelly, how she was like, she went to Marvel and was like, I want to write Hawkeye, and she didn't even think of the fact that she was following up Matt Fraction, David Haas run. Then I guess there was different.
Oh, no, that's a different color. It's a different cover artist. It's Julian Totino Tedesco.
It's a good cover.
Kelly Thompson, how she was like, I want to write Hawkeye. She was so excited to write Hawkeye that she didn't even think about the stuff that came in the past. And then when they were like, oh, okay. And like she pitched it to them and they were like, okay. Then she was like, oh, wait a second. I didn't realize that I had to basically follow up that great run. And how am I going to do it? And she said the fan support, everybody's support about this book really did touch her, and was like, I really do like that this book found an audience. And I, like you said, I believe Marvel saw that, and that's why we're getting more. They obviously did. They signed Kelly Thompson to an exclusive deal, and she gets to tell the story. So good.
To respond to Sergeant America from a couple months ago, they heard us and they took notes.
Those are the books this week. We have Wildstorm number 12, It's Gideon Falls number 1, Oblivion Song number 1. We have Hawkeye number 16, Captain America number 699, and Batman number 482.
That memory is getting pretty good on you.
Supercon 2018, Return of the Con, September 28th, 29th, and 30th. Tickets on sale at supercon.com. Alex, we're going to be there doing a show, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to be there on the 28th doing a live show for everyone. What's it going to be called? Wednesday Comics After Dark.
And not only us are going to be there, a lot of people are going to be there. Phil Hester, right, Garrett?
Yes, Phil Hester, the current artist of Batman Beyond. He's done other projects like Shipwreck. He's done some Swamp Thing that you may or may not have seen, and some Holland Files that came out recently.
Not only Phil, signed Steve, Shea Fontana, Tony Fleece, Travis Nye, Midwest, all are all doing a show the 28th. They'll be doing a show that night. That's the main attraction that night. Jill Thompson, Ryan Cody, John Allen, and more. Tom Wynn. Going to be at supercon.com. Sure, there's a lot going on that weekend. I would say if I I'm going to tell you any kind of advice. Buy that weekend pass. You won't regret it. You got MAP concert that night also. You got Wednesday Comics After Dark. And then you got a whole weekend of stuff to do, people to see. Siouxpercon.com for more information. We're going to play a game today. The game is going to be called Tell Me About That Comic Book. Here's how it's going to work. Garrett and Alex are wearing headphones right now, but they're plugged into this board. We're going to unplug you from the board and plug you right into my phone and blast some music in the air. If you're curious as a listener, because you won't hear it on the show, it's called Miley Cyrus, Part in the USA. It's loud enough, and she says enough the whole song that they're not going to be able to hear. And what happens is Garrett's going to listen to the music really loud so you can't hear anything. Alex is going to be saying comic book phrases. It could be names of characters, and then also there's a couple that are, I'll just tell you, there's only one in each column that is an author. The rest are just comic book characters. The first round is separated. They're either going to be Marvel or DC. I'll let you know when we start. And then the last round is a mix. Alex, for instance, will say, let's see here, Wonder Woman. I don't think that was the choice. But so Alex will say Wonder Woman. Garrett has the things blasting. He obviously can't hear. He's going to try to guess what Alex is. Read his lips and guess what he's saying. The first two rounds, each one is worth.
You said he's going to say phrases, or he's going to say Wonder Woman. He's going to word out Wonder Woman.
I mean, I don't think it's like me saying a sentence.
No,
too. I think
he literally
words.
just says Wonder Woman. You got to figure out what he's saying.
Wonder Woman.
The first two rounds, each one is worth 1 point. There's 5 each. The last round is harder, I thought, at least. So the last round is worth 3 each, and there's 5 of them also. I will keep track. But since you guys are in a competition, but you are doing for each other, if I feel like you're messing this up, I'm taking points away. So if I feel like you're intentionally not doing it good for him, points.
Hey, I'll enunciate my words if you enunciate your words.
So while Alex downloads the Google Docs, you'll see there, obviously, there's 3 different rounds. The first round, that's the first one we'll start with. That's DC only. Alex, your first one. We'll start with you first. This, just hold this up when you're skipping, because obviously he's not going to try to read your say skip.
Oh, so I'll do one at a time. I got you.
But you can always go back to try to get all 5, but there's 5 total.
And I had the whole 3.
You get 3 minutes and 22 seconds. That's the length of Part in the USA. And to try to get Alex to guess those. So Alex, if he's going to skip and move on to the next one, he's going to hold up the blue notebook to let you know we're moving on. And he's going to try to cycle through till you get all 5.
So you don't have it downloaded?
I'm working on it right now.
Well, what if I just honor code and I just go back out? Why don't I give it to you after I try
we can do that.
And you back out and just put it in the Alex.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Man, I got Google Docs.
Okay, log into the...
If I can log back into our stuff.
Close it down. He's got it.
Yeah, we got to figure
Just
it
do
out.
it that way?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have it for next time. Next time we can plan this out
We're
better.
biking around your slow ass.
That was. I think that was the third thing I was going to tell you before the show. I forgot.
Yeah, you did forget something, didn't you?
So first, there's 5 total. He's going to try to get you 5. But once again,
I'm going first. I'm listening.
You're going first.
Okay.
So I'm going to give me. I'll do it in a second here.
And you have to say it out loud. You can't mouth it back to me. Right?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I taught you're talking out loud to me. So yeah.
Right. He's going to hold up the notebook when he's skipping, so you know that it's a new word. He will try to go through. If he skips one, he'll obviously go back to it until we get all 5. The round ends when he either gets all 5 or the time's up.
So when you skip, you're holding it, and if I
can I go back even if I skip it though? Yeah. Okay. It means I'm trying to do.
Okay, you're moving on to the next thing, whether or not I get it or not.
Well, I can speak, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne.
Doomsday. Mr. Freeze.
Mr. Freeze.
Batman. Nightwing.
Say it again.
Nightwing.
I'm not even sure. It looks like Edward Nygma at first, like Edward.
I got 3 minutes to say this. Nightwing.
There you go. 5. Alex got it in 40 seconds.
Pass that to you, and then you switch it to Alex's.
I had no idea. I saw the W. I thought, I don't know.
Okay, Alex, here we go. I give you.
I just wait a minute and just jam out to the song, and then be like, "Oh, I'm fucking paying attention now."
Here, Alex. Here's Garrett's. Do the top one there, Garrett. Your first one's Marvel.
Top one. Okay.
Let me switch up the
Don't
music.
cover your face.
No, wait.
I gotta see your face.
Top one. Hang on. Marvin, that's not right. Top one's not.
Do the list of
Yeah,
Marvel.
his first one's Marvel. Oh, I'm sorry. I heard wrong.
All right.
Marvel.
Alex, start.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
No, she's not starting talking yet. Now. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. Donnie Cates.
Donnie Cates.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
Nick Fury. Nick Fury.
Keep going.
Nick, keep going. Nick Fury. Nick Fury.
Nick Fury.
Yes.
Marvin, you gotta wait like 10 seconds before you start.
Yeah, I just realized that.
It does the
So I was like, why isn't that playing now?
Well, then you're like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. You gotta wait. I already know. All right.
I was like, bonus.
Hey.
There you go. Second round.
I think you would have gotten it
It's a
regardless.
fun game.
Wait, let me look at his.
Oh fuck, Marvin. I didn't just turn it to the other list.
Can you see it?
No, I only saw the Marvel ones. I literally just saw Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. again.
Good.
Oh, yeah. I
Promise.
clicked the wrong one. I forgot that it picks the most recent one. Goes to the
Right.
top.
I hate that one. It does.
Marvel, second round. Alex, yours is Marvel. Let me plug you into the music. Hold on a second here.
Multiple Man.
Holy shit. Edward Nygma.
Would you get it? Yeah, if I started saying DC characters. Marvel round.
So mine's Marvel, yeah.
It is Marvel.
All right. Wait till 10 seconds. I'll let you know when 10 seconds is, and you can start here. We are at 5 seconds right now.
Okay.
There you go.
Ready? Iron Man.
Iron Man.
Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers.
Bruce Banner.
Bruce Banner.
Clint Barton.
What?
Shit. His reaction was so quick. Clint Barton.
Yeah.
Clint
Here we go.
Barton.
That's a good
I
one.
don't want to say it too loud because I think he can hear me almost a little bit. Clint Barton.
Wait, you're talking? Yeah, just you don't have to do that loud.
It looked like Nicholas Sparks.
Clint Eastwood.
Again.
Clint Barton. I'm going to do it again because I got time. Clint Eastwood.
Skip that one. Go back.
That's my fucking power, not you. Clint Eastwood.
These last two suck.
I got time. Clint Barton. Okay. Ant-Man.
Ant-Man. Nick Spencer.
Clint Barton. Clint Barton.
Fuck.
I can't skip it because it's the last one. Clint
We're a minute and a half in.
Barton.
Clint Barton.
Yes. Fuck. I couldn't even say that one.
There you go.
Okay, you switched.
That was crazy.
That was hard. I okay, wait,
Clint
a couple
Barton
times.
was hard.
It's gonna be funny for the show. A fucking times. I said Clint Eastwood. You're like, what? You're gonna edit that out. You should leave that
Yeah, I'll leave it in.
Yeah.
Second one. All DC, Garrett. Let me put you on the music here.
I have no idea. Okay.
It's gonna be like my new favorite song.
I was like, I'm going to have this in my dreams tonight.
Ooh, don't tell your wife that.
Not because she's hot, just because that song's just going to keep playing.
All right. We'll tell you when 10 seconds is. So far, the score is 10-5. Go ahead.
Superman.
Superman.
Reverse Flash.
Reverse Flash. Be quieter. You're talking too loud.
Okay. Clark Kent.
Clark Kent.
Gotham City. Gotham City.
Just like how
Gotham City.
Booster Gold. Booster Gold.
Cyrus Gold.
No. Booster
Oh,
Gold.
Booster Gold.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm pretty sure they're going to hear on the show. Miley Cyrus will enjoy that while you're at it.
Huh?
I think it's loud enough that the mic's picking it up.
I think the thing is that I can't hear me talk
Right.
other than me yelling at you.
Right. That's why I was saying, like, don't talk too loud. Like, just say it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll be too easy.
Just talk to you.
So whatever that second one was, I heard you
10
say
to 10, the last round, I think, is harder, hopefully.
Reverse Flash.
Once again, like Garrett
Was that
said.
one?
Reverse Flash.
That was one. Did I say that?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
did.
I said reverse flash?
You got it.
Holy fuck.
Because that's the one that yelled at you.
Oh.
This music is disorienting.
I don't know. Fuck. I don't even remember saying reverse flash.
Clint Barton.
Clint Eastwood.
Like Garrett said, maybe use a lower tone.
Right,
Obviously, we
yeah,
don't got
nobody's so loud.
noise. If we had noise canceling headphones,
Right.
actually, my Bluetooth are, but I don't know what you guys think of that.
Easy now. Just don't be fucking
Yeah.
loud. Keep it down.
This is the last round. Like I said, 3 points each. So we'll see how you guys
It's
do.
phone. I don't even care if I lose this one. At this point, I'm just like,
This is just fun to
it's
do.
fun. Yeah, it's interesting.
Are they going to be
Did you
hard?
tell them the category, or is this mixed? Okay.
Does that include image?
This is a mix. No, it's still Marvel and DC.
Just DC Marvel.
It's Marvel DC. I didn't. Obviously, when we play this game more, I'll include more stuff. But this is just Marvel and
I'm
DC.
excited to play this one.
It's mixed. Once again, remember the volume low. 3 points each. Wait.
5 questions.
Are
Right?
you saying
5
Sing
still.
Low, Sweet Chariot?
Remember the skip option if you don't want to waste time. But once again, this song is pretty loud. We're partying in the USA with Miley Cyrus. You can go.
Oh. T'Challa.
T'Challa.
Thanos.
Thanos.
John Stewart. John Stewart. John Stewart.
Looks like Josh Sweet.
Skipping. He's skipping.
Power Ring.
Power Ring.
I can't fucking say it. Brian Michael Bendis.
Anal beans.
You can just see Garrett mouth and Alex be like, I don't know what the fuck that is.
Brian Michael Bendis.
It looks like Brad motherfucker.
John Stewart.
God.
John Stewart.
John Stewart.
Yes. Brian Michael Bendis.
You gotta slow that fucking word down.
Brian Michael.
Brett Booth.
Brian Michael Bendis.
Holy fuck.
Brian.
Brett. Brent.
Brian.
Brett.
Minute and a half left.
Brian. Brian Michael Bendis. Brian.
No, I'm not getting this one.
This. Brian.
Better bread.
Brian.
Brett.
Michael Bendis. Brian. Brian Michael Bendis.
Brian Hitch.
Can I do charades?
Brian came on.
Brian Michael
40 seconds.
Bendis. Fuck. Brian
I knew fuck it.
Michael Mike. Brian.
Brad.
20 seconds left.
This guy's fucking
I don't think I'm gonna get this one.
Brian.
Do you want to forfeit? You can forfeit.
No, we're getting
20 seconds. Might as well use it
Brian
10,
Michael
next 15
Bendis.
seconds.
Brian Michael Bendis. Brian Michael Bendis.
No.
Bendis.
5,
Brian
3.
Michael
1,
Bendis.
over.
Oh, of course I would never get Brian Michael Bendis.
Fuck, that was hard.
There
Oh.
we go. Alex, you did not get the
Shit.
full points in that round.
on that one.
You are at 22 points. There
Yeah,
you
the
go.
one that hung you up the most. besides that was Jon Stewart. Eventually you got that.
Something about Stewart was hard to read. Then I was like, okay, I got this.
Last one, mix also. 10 seconds, I'll let you know when. This is her warming up, obviously.
Simon Baz.
Simon Baz.
Owa.
Owa.
Blade. Blade.
Blink.
No. Blade.
Pink.
Blade.
Blade.
Moon Knight. Moon Knight.
Boone.
No.
Is this a fucking pirate?
Aim. Aim.
Enigma.
No. Aim.
Endgame. Amami.
Aim.
Something ape.
No. Aim.
Aim.
Yeah, that's it.
Moon Knight. Moon.
Moon Knight. Moon Knight.
All right, that's it.
So there's one called AIM. Just AIM.
Yeah, a game.
Oh, okay.
Advanced Ideas. Is that what it's called?
Advanced Idea Mechanics.
That is. What did I call the game?
Plug me fucking back in. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Lost
Plug
in
you
the
back in.
fan zone.
Garrett, you won 25-22.
Ooh,
Obviously,
close.
Barry Michael Bendis fucking things up.
Like
Yeah,
usual.
What do you guys think about that 2-page spread you saw in Batman, where it says Bendis is coming? Is that like too much hype?
Kind of. To me, it doesn't make me excited. It's just like, I'm going to get it.
I like
but
how the second page you just see a billow of his cape, and then it's just a white page. I'm like, all right.
I'm more excited to read the Tom King Superman thing, but
I haven't read it yet.
I read it. It's really great. It's really good. I was surprised. I was like, why isn't Tom King writing Superman?
Yeah,
that game went faster than I was expecting.
It did. I knew it was
enjoyed
good.
that.
fun. What did you give it a name?
I did at the beginning of the show, but I forgot what it's called.
I like when you called it mixed. I was like, mixed is kind of cool.
It's a good one.
That's the game for this week. Refer back to the beginning of the game when I did call it something. I will refer back to that and remember what that was called.
Bananagrams.
Also, let us know when the Wednesday Comics 605 at gmail.com. Let us know what you think of those Marvel number ones. Which one are you going to try out? Which one are you going to pick? On Twitter at Wednesday Comics, at Alex Pastrello, at Garrot2188, at Marvin_Salguero, or at Pastrami News. Let us know what you think of that DC Black Label. You can try that out, see how it goes. We'll maybe talk about that sometime when it gets closer to those, but Facebook.com/Wednesday Comics Podcast. You can go there, like the page, get us up to 100 likes. We're almost close. Go ahead and do it. YouTube.com and search Wednesday Comics. You can see the gauntlet on there. You can see Catching Up with Garrett. You can get the audio forms of this show and the forecast if that's the way you want to gain your audio. I know if you got the YouTube Red, you can listen to audio, so go ahead and do that if you want to. You can download the show and if you have that service and take us on the go. 605-215-1849. That is the voicemail. Give us a ring. Let us know what you think of the comic books you read for last week. Let us know what you think of upcoming comic books. Which one are you excited for? Let us know. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and Spotify. Make sure you subscribe to the show. Tell your friends about Wednesday Comics. And make sure if you enjoy the show, leave us a review. Let people know about us. It's the greatest way to make sure more Wednesday Comics keeps coming out. If there's more people involved, there's more stuff to do. We have book club, right, Alex?
We sure do.
Wednesday Comics proudly presents the... dang, I always screw this up. Wednesday Comics Leave Extraordinary Gentle People proudly presents...
Day Tripper, written by Fabio Moon and Gabriel Ba.
You are correct, sir.
Boom. Rocket.
Boom.
Got a little nervous.
It is, make sure you give us your voicemails, Twitter or tweets, Facebook messages, and emails before the first Wednesday in April, I believe that is. Oh, probably change the calendar.
4th is that Wednesday. 5th
so
is when we're doing the
by
show.
the 4th, we need it because we're recording the show that Thursday, and we will include you in our show if you'd like to talk about it. Day Tripper is a great book. I would recommend you read it and let us know what you think about it. I think actually we got Rowan's response already. So, Supercon 2018, Return of the Con is September 28th, 29th, and 30th. Go to Comic Book Genie. You can see his art there if you missed him yesterday. And make sure to go to supercon.com for more information. Buy your weekend tickets. They are available right now. Make sure you get them before it is too late. We're going to be there on the 28th from the live show, and you won't want to miss it. rootsoftheswampthing.com. Make sure to go there for all things Swamp Thing, and you can go there and read a review of the Swamp Thing Winter Special. And actually, that's a great episode of this show, so go back a couple episodes and listen to us there. Wednesday Comics, we brought you some games today, some reviews. We talked for a long time Marvel #1s in a way that I thought actually was not only, we weren't slamming the idea of rebooting, we were talking about the books individually, what we thought of them, of the creative teams and the hypes for them. I think we're actually into some of the books and some of the teams, so it'll be good when that comes out. A lot of good things happen in comics these days. What's happening in your life? Let me know.
I just want to point out that I'm going to be going to Sin City, so I'm going to go hang out with Mephisto and his club, check in with Doctor Strange, and we'll see what's going on. You know, I'm going to deal myself in, see what happens, and maybe I get a hold Cap Shield or Thor's hammer. You might see a video come up. I don't know. If Mephisto lets me out of the casino.
When Mephisto gets your soul, well, they'll bring your brother in to try to replace you, but it won't be the same.
Follow
Sorry,
Garrett
the show will fail.
on social media so you can catch him in his endeavors and adventures. He's not unlike the kids in the Goonies. He's always on an adventure and he might die. For Wednesday,
Goonies never say die, though.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But they do die. For Wednesday Comics, I've been Marvin.
I've been Alex.
And I'm Garrett.
Hey, everyone. You turn those pages.